I don't need no introduction and shit.
This is your man 702 Exotic. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch another video like this. What's up, everybody? 702 Exotic. We're gonna try this one more time. I actually ended the live just right before this, but that's okay. So what we got going on today is homie Jesse Michaels dropped a banger today, man. He dropped another banger, so we're going to take a look at that with you guys. I haven't seen it, only dropped 30 minutes ago too as well. I was chilling here, trimming, watching the homies Rob, CLTV Pigeons, and the homie Mr. Grow It. So y'all go check that out. Yeah, man. I got it set up here to where I could play a little video, but I had it set up to where if I do this, it's going to end the live. But so I switched the setting. Yes, sir. You guys know what it is, man. We define exotic, right? Make sure you do not hit that like button, man. Do not hit that like button. I'm telling you. Do not hit that like button.
We're testing your reaction too. Don't hit the thumbs up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So no further ado, man, let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my screen right there. I'm going to show you guys what I see. It's what I see right there, all the thumbnails and everything, right? So I get everything ready. That's how I get the show ready. So we get the show ready by getting our hashtags, thumbnails, everything ready, getting to go. So now we're going to show you how we maneuver through our thing here. So let's share that one more time. Let's go, baby. So now we're going to come in here, bring that up to the top. New banger right here by Jesse Michaels. You guys go hit that sub button. Not only hit that sub button, make sure you got all the notifications on, just like that. Now I get a notification every time my homie Jesse Michaels drops a video, right? He is the main man at American Alchemy, right? Not only that, let's come over here. YouTube, right? We also saw another banger that I really liked. Beans is live. Go check him out. What else? What else? Homegrow TV. Go check him out. That's a banger. I get a lot of Trump news and shit. I don't even click on this stuff. But yeah, man, you guys go check them out. CLTV just dropped a video. Go check them out. All right. So make sure you guys go support everybody, man. Go support. So no further ado, let's get into it.
Jonathan Weygandt, he is told at one point that there's a downed friendly or
I haven't seen this, okay? So we're going to watch it together.
After a combination of driving and trekking, they encounter a clearing. There's an enormous egg-shaped, teardrop-shaped craft embedded in the cliff face. And there seemed to be a hatch open with an arm hanging out with 4 fingers.
It was dripping this syrup-like, this liquid. It was everywhere. It was weird. It was purplish green color.
He feels like a being is communicating to him in his mind, telling him not to be scared, but also asking for help.
They were not going to harm me. And that was basically that everything is going to be all right. Just help us get out of here.
There's one common thread I found, and each of these 3 people had the same thing happen that they kind of answered independently. They're immediately intercepted by between 8 and 12 operators in all black, no insignia, no name tags.
Too late already.
Held at gunpoint. All 3 of these men directly after their encounters were given what they were told were anthrax vaccine boosters.
Oh, damn.
Anthrax boosters.
Yeah,
so weird. You are one of the few people who put names, dates, programs, acronyms to the actual UFO legacy program. You're famous for your acronyms.
CONUS and OCONUS, outside CONUS, Continental United States Intelligence, Surveillance, Reconnaissance Platforms, ISR, OICI, and yes, FFRDC, federally funded research and development centers.
Wow.
Correct.
You have somebody like Dick Cheney, maybe at the top.
Yeah.
And then you have these 6 different kind of high up intelligence organizations.
And DoD stuff.
And DoD stuff.
So you got National Security, Defense Intelligence Agency, Central Intelligence Agency, Department of Defense, National, I can't see that, my eyes are too fucked up. National Reconnaissance Office. Yeah, the NR, damn, that's a lot of people in the building.
So you have DoD plus intelligence organization.
Scotty, salute to you, champ.
Do you know the first director of OGA, the Office of Global Access?
Is that Doug Wolf?
This
I'm
is Doug
trying
Wolf.
to say your
Do you know
name,
Doug
champ,
Wolf
but I don't want to fuck it up.
16 years in the NRO.
Hasholio?
He was the executive assistant to the director of the National Reconnaissance
Salute, champ.
Office. Whoa. CIA, director. He indeed started the OGA.
Whoa.
And indeed, he was the
54,
DDNI
salute,
18F,
champ.
the Deputy Director for National Intelligence for Acquisition Technology and Facilities.
Whoa.
Has direct oversight over NRO acquisitions.
Crazy. So obviously Bob Lazar, was briefed on Project Looking Glass.
Yeah.
Which is like the manipulation of timelines. You have Tim Taylor. He kind of thinks of himself as like a adjustment bureau, timeline management person.
This sphere was basically used to, I guess, like coagulate time onto the Planck scale, looking at time as frames of Planck scale, and combined with like the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics to like view parallel timelines.
What the hell? View parallel timelines through the looking hourglass, right? It was like, that's what they were calling it.
This episode is sponsored by one of my favorite services, Incogni. If you think UFO secrecy is intense, you should see what data brokers quietly collect on regular people like you and me every day. I'm not exaggerating. Every search, every late night internet binge, every form you've ever filled out online gets logged, bundled, and sold.
Everybody
and they just
knows.
sit permanently on these sketchy websites. Most people never see these profiles on themselves, which often contain personal information, their phone number, their email, their family members. Nobody agreed to have these profiles made. Most people don't even know they exist. That's why I use Incogni. Incogni goes after these data brokers directly and forces your information to be deleted forever. Not buried, not opted out, actually removed permanently. And they don't stop at the first request. They keep following up until the deletion is confirmed. They also added an amazing feature called custom removals. If you find your information on some random sketchy people finder site on one of the dark corners of the web, you simply paste that link into your dashboard and Incogni handles the rest. Unlimited takedowns, no back and forth. And just to be clear, this isn't a VPN. It's not private browsing. Those tools hide what you do next. Incogni deals with what's already out there. So if you care about privacy and autonomy, which if you watch this show, I imagine you do, or just don't want a shadow version of yourself circulating online, get Incogni today. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code American Alchemy at incogni.com/American Alchemy for 60% off an annual plan. Again, incogni.com/American Alchemy, code American Alchemy for a whopping 60% off today. I'm here with Sammy, UAP Gerb, who, in my estimation, is the most hardcore UFO researcher today.
Oh, damn.
And I think in a world where kind of a lot of people like to talk in these sort of really vague generalities, it's always everything is everything. A lot of mushy-brained thinking where A is true and B is true, but somehow A and B are mutually exclusive. Nothing really makes sense, accept everything kind of wholeheartedly. Yeah. You are one of the few people who tries to put names, dates, programs, acronyms to the actual UFO legacy program. You're famous for your acronyms. And you have a real map that you're kind of basically like illustrating through every single episode of what is actually happening in the concrete UFO reverse engineering program. So I'm excited to get into all of that with you today.
Well, thanks for having me on, Jesse. This is the kind of second big program we've done. And a while ago, I think it was the beginning of the year, I had a super small channel you had me on. Really brought some exposure to kind of my platform. So I'm super grateful to that. I appreciate you kind of taking a chance and having me on then. We had a great conversation then. We'll have an even better conversation today because people who've watched my channel know that what I like to do is legacy programs. Chris Ramsey's interested in the experiencer. You're interested in more physics-based science. Right. I like legacy programs. I like acronyms. I like really boring program fundings, such. So I kind of focus on UFO legacy programs, crash retrieval, basically in a sense, programs to retrieve, store, exploit, and derive technologies of non-human origin. The approach I like to take is really trying to iron out specifics and be as specific as possible.
Right.
I've been super interested in the subject since I was a little kid, but we talked about
Let's
this
go.
yesterday. It seemed to me, and it, just like a lot of people approach this topic, like there was always the amorphous they, of running UFO reverse engineering programs, the big U.S. government, the big they.
The big day.
And it wasn't until David Grush spoke in 2023 that something clicked in my head, and I thought, well, I can really start attributing names to these programs.
Yeah,
people
everybody
who worked
did.
in the
I think
programs, where
that's
these
set
programs
forth.
might take place, exact mechanisms, how these programs might be funded, exact contractors, exact institutions that might be working on them. So I love hyper-specifics, and if we want to talk hyper-specifics today, we can do just that.
Let's do it, because I think a lot of people are probably extremely confused at the org chart, of the actual UFO legacy program. I think the Debrief published something, I want to say at the end of last year, around the White House having to do with some of these programs. You hear that the White House sometimes has to do with some of the programs, and then simultaneously you hear that the president doesn't have a need to know and doesn't know anything about the program. So you hear these things all the time that are so hand-wavy about this.
And I think that's what we're gonna get into today is who's in charge of what? What are these people's titles really intel doing, right? Like, I guess that's what we're gonna get into today. We're gonna learn about that.
How this stuff works. And I think you're the only person who's actually mapping it out. What is the org structure?
Homie Rock in the building.
So I'm trying to map it out. I think at the
Big
end of the
Rock
day, this
Solo.
is probably more complicated.
Want to join,
than
man?
any
You're
of us
more than
can
happy,
guess,
champ.
because there's 80, 90 years at least of these
just
programs
chilling,
being spun
trimming,
up out of the
watching a little
Manhattan
video with
Project,
y'all,
out
man.
of the
That's
Atomic
it.
Energy Commission, out of probably initially the executive
That's what I do in
branch
my
and the
spare
National
time
Security
right now. I
Council,
just
but
like fuck it.
the way I really
do
like
what
to
y'all
look at UFO legacy programs to retrieve, store, exploit, and derive technical vehicles of unknown origin, is simplistic terms like a pyramid. The head of the pyramid is the puller of the strings. That's probably a name we don't know, or it's probably somebody like the late Dick Cheney. I think that's probably highly accurate. That what did Walter Kern say? That Dave Grush told him that Dick Cheney was the head of the UFO pyramid for quite a while. That's highly likely probably true.
The closest person we got that I was
It's a new
aware
one,
of
too.
was, unfortunately, now deceased Vice President Dick Cheney, Darth Vader himself. Not shocking that he was involved in this. And essentially, when he left in 2009, that was the last time that these activities really had central leadership.
Below that,
Central leadership, meaning like that's the last time that an actual president or whatever, that actually had knowledge of all that stuff, right? Like it could be a president, it could be any higher up.
there seems to be UFO legacy program administrators. These administrators are likely seem to stem from the big 6 intelligence agencies, not big 5. The National Security Agency, NSA, DIA, CIA, NRO, and NGA.
Those are the ones.
There's not 5, there's 6. There's the NURO, the National Underwater Reconnaissance Office, which was established in 1969 and still has not been disclosed to this day. So directorates within those intelligence agencies, for example, the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology seems to be a legacy program administrator. And then conversely, on the same side, other side of that coin, DOD agencies. This could be the Edwards 412th Test Wing. This could be Army Test and Evaluation Command. This could be the Office of Naval Intelligence, the Office of Naval Research. And so those seem to be the UFO legacy program administrators. Now, in most of discussion about legacy programs, and this is kind of perpetuated in most mainstream discussion of the topic, it's, okay, the United States government, DOD, and intelligence community, and then contractors, the Lockheed Martin, the Northrop Grumman, the Battelle Memorial Institutes. I think that's incorrect, and I think that's very incorrect. I think there's an intermediary step between that, and this is below the legacy program admins and above the defense industrial base contractors, the prime contractors. And that is, people who watch my channel will probably laugh at me saying this because I talk about it nonstop, but FFRDC, federally funded research and development centers. These are government-owned, contractor-operated institutions.
Fully funded research in the United States. Federal funded research and development centers are valuable sources of the research and development activity in the United States federal government agencies provide most of the funding. Damn. So if you if you're popping, you'll get federal funding. If they feel like, hey man, this guy really knows what he got going on, you know what I mean? We're gonna fund him. That's cool, man. That the government actually like has, other ways of funding if they really think that you're serious. If you're a real scientist, and you really want to get some things going, they'll fund you. That's crazy.
that are subject matter experts for all sorts of programs that the United States government, DoD.
And when I say crazy, I don't think it's like crazy. I just think like it's cool. You know, I feel like I fuck up words like that a little bit. I gotta clarify those.
And IC can't handle themselves. So FFRDC's examples here would be the MITRE Corporation, numerous institutions run by Battelle Memorial Institute, Sandia, Lawrence Livermore, Oak Ridge, Department of Energy, National Nuclear Security Administration, National Labs. The reason why FFRDCs, I think, are higher on the totem pole, if so to speak, than contractors is because FFRDCs are inherently government-owned, contractor-operated.
Oh, shit.
So
they've been in the pool.
These
They
institutions
had
can
pool.
serve as subject matter experts for exotic technology programs,
Right.
but elements of the Department of Defense or intelligence community can still maintain access control over materials, information, personnel, etc.
So this guy right here, if anybody knows Norma G in the community, right? Norma G knows what everybody's doing, what everybody's got going on, who does who, like they'll keep a schedule of everything that's going on. This is their Norma G of the UFO community. This guy has all the information, who takes care of what does what, when they do it, what time they do it. He has all the schedules for everything. This is the guy right here.
So the FFRDC can serve as an R&D expert and subject matter expert and be a program admin for the defense industrial base contractors. So that's how the USG, United States government, and its elements of legacy programs can still retain control over these programs.
Shout out to Norma G.
You know, people talk about, oh, the programs have run away in Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. I don't think that's correct. People will say that these programs have no oversight. No, I think there's a very structured oversight to these programs. It's just not traditional oversight channels. And then at the bottom of this pyramid is the defense industrial base prime contractors, the Lockheed Martins, the Northrop Grummans, and what Northrop ate up, BDM, TRW, Teledyne Ryan, Raytheon, Raytheon especially with the U.S. Army.
I ain't heard of none
and
of
so
those.
forth. The mortar that holds this pyramid together
none of those. Just
would
Lockheed
be
Martin, to
the
be
defense
honest.
industrial base and funding mechanisms. This would be stuff like major range and test facility bases, or MRTFBs, which are basically large DoD ranges across the continental United States. I believe there are 26 such agencies. They're spread across the U.S. Army.
What you got going on, chat? Let's see what you got. Let's see. And Runts, let's go. My boy harvesting the Pineapple Express. Runts OG next week. Let's get it, baby. Smoking this melon Runts from the dispo. About to go put it out and roll up some of my GG4. Let's go. Perfect. That's what I'm talking about, baby. We here, baby. We here.
U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force, and Defense Agency. Examples here include the Nevada Test and Training Range. You know, that houses Area 51. That houses, allegedly, S4. That houses the Tonopah Test Range. Also.
And while we're here, guys, make sure I have open links so you guys can drop your links to your channels on there. Let's get a whole list of channels right there on the bottom. Start dropping links. Get your link to your channel. Drop it on the bottom. Let's support everybody. Everybody go follow everybody. Let's get it, baby. I want to see a bunch of links in the channel.
Sorts of weird little Sandia run sites, the numbered areas. This includes the Utah Test and Training Range, the West Desert Test Center. Both of those are situated on Dugway Proving Ground. Edwards 412th Test Wing out of Edwards Air Force Base, China Lake, Patuxent River, and so forth. And funding mechanisms, I think the best way to look at this is what David Grush has spoken about. And this would essentially be misappropriation of funds, right? IRAD, Independent Research and Development, which is a very creative system that defense industrial
IRAD, that's my code name.
Base contractors can take upon projects that they consider to be in the interest of national security and build the DoD for it. This includes carryover funds, which basically budget left over at the end of a fiscal year that's not reported, that's then utilized by the agency. And we can talk about this more, but in 1994, 1995, the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO, which runs America's spy satellites, IMINT and SIGINT primarily, that David Grush worked for, as well as the NGA, got busted in huge trouble. They underwent a Senate and GAO audit for enormous misappropriation of funds, specifically carryover funds, back in 1994 and 1995, in the realm of $3.2 billion or so. And remember, the NRO was only declassified in 1992. This could also be overcharging of parts. There's a really interesting example of this back in the 80s and 90s of the Navy. It'd be things like ashtrays on military planes that were overcharged by thousands of dollars. Profit margins of like 60 to 80% on submarines. Socket wrenches for fighter jets priced on planes that were overcharged by thousands of dollars. It'd be things like ashtrays on military planes that were overcharged by thousands of dollars. Profit margins of like 60 to 80%.
I guess they did used to smoke on planes back in the day.
On submarines. Socket wrenches for fighter jets priced like 15,000% over what they should be worth and so forth.
Wow.
And then finally, if we're thinking about this pyramid as like the old Egyptian pyramids, the pyramids were once encased in limestone, right? To protect the pyramids from the elements and so forth. Well, that limestone casing for this UFO Legacy Program pyramid, this would be program protection strategies. This would be the DARPA Defense Advanced Research Project Agency Security and Intelligence Directorate, SID, which is responsible for program protection for some of the United States' most classified special access programs. DARPA said this is the boogeyman. This would also be Department of Energy Intelligence, Department of Energy Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence, OICI, and yes, the DOE has its own intelligence agency. This would be black budget program structure like SAPS, Special Access Programs, USAPs, Unacknowledged Special Access Programs, or in the intelligence community, CAPS, Controlled Access Program, carve out contracts with defense industrial prime contractors.
Right.
Further examples of program protection strategy would be complex PSYOPs, disinformation campaigns, National Security Council programs, Sean Kirkpatrick, Arrow, Rick Doty, stuff like that. So, and like I think that took like 10 minutes, but in a super broad term, that is how I view the structure of legacy programs. A very complex pyramid. And again, it's probably far more complex than we can even begin to understand. But that is how I look and start to break down the structure of the programs.
Well, I think a lot of people are probably thinking with complexity, you end up with leaks and you end up with like coordination issues. And I think that speaks to, and then that, my response to that with a lot of people is like, well, there have been a ton of leaks.
Numerous.
You have people like Stephen Greer, and in some ways, to me, you're like the cooler heir to Stephen Greer, where you're like a better place, I think, for a lot of these whistleblowers to go and get their stories out. And I mean, all this stuff is hidden in plain sight.
Yes,
it's all out there. I've broken people on my show. You've broken a lot of people, and these aren't just campfire stories.
No.
Like they really add up, and in aggregate, you have to like slap pretty high confidence level, especially when all the details totally comport.
Yeah, I mean, as far as leaks go, there are just numerous, including credited and credible individuals. We talked about the Edwards 412th test wing back there as a major range and test facility base, kind of like the mortar that sticks together these legacy programs.
Damn, champ, for real, that's what's up, man. I'm so glad I can help you, bro. Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Let's get it.
Well, I'm familiar with an ex-Air Force lieutenant colonel out there who claims to have run a program that was focused on testing alien reproduction vehicles and derivative technology. This guy was an electronics warfare group director. He claimed to serve as the intermediary between test pilots on the ARV and contractors and scientists and so forth.
Wow. And this was at Edwards.
Yes.
412.
Dab Grows, my boy in the building. What it do, champ? I see you.
Off test division.
412 test wing, yeah.
Test wing.
The Edwards 412 test wing also operates. They're also the manned people at Area 51.
Ooh.
Okay, so the Edwards 412 test wing also has a big presence at the NTTR, Nevada Test and Training Range, and the Tonopah Test Range.
Wow. And so this lieutenant colonel from the Air Force, what is he saying about like the test? So for the audience, if you're not aware, ARV is Alien Reproduction Vehicle, which is basically a reverse engineered UFO, maybe with some human tech slapped on to make it workable. And so what is he saying about these ARVs? How are they similar to the Mark McCandlish story, where it looks like human kind of older tech retrofitted on super advanced alien tech, or what is it?
It seems like a more advanced platform. This guy has gone pretty quiet because I think he was threatened, like many people are in this topic, but his testimony mainly takes place between 1998, when the Nevada Test and Training Range was renamed from the 98th Range Wing, and about 2007, 2008. So these were many times triangular airframes, saucer-shaped airframes.
Damn, triangle.
Nothing too specific about that, but that's very interesting.
They got so
the
many
subject of alien
sizes,
reproduction vehicles,
so
I've
many
started to transition
looks to
more
them,
to
so many
the
models.
usage of the term derivative technology, because I think that ARV isn't the end-all, be-all of what we're trying to do with and exploit from exotic non-human technologies.
You know, that's why I be tripping. I'm like, when you hear exotic non-human technology, right? I always say this. We have their tech, like us. If you see a gun in the middle of a desert, and this person that lives in the middle of the desert has never seen any human or nothing like that, they're gonna look at this gun and be like, "Holy damn, that's advanced technology," right? But little do they think that because they have an actual gun, it isn't someone at home probably just 3D printing this thing. And even if they had a 3D printer, there's someone who has to make that 3D printer. So there has to be factories and facilities and cities and all that just to produce this stuff. So when we hear exotic, non-human technology, right? Bruh, that's their cities producing that shit. They're scientists and all that. They got like well-oiled machines. Like, I wonder how their 3D printers look, bro. You know what I mean? We was watching the movie, what was the movie? Predator yesterday. The new one, that shit was tight, bro. And it was like the way they had the knives, the slingshots, all lasers and everything. It's like, who's making them? They don't show where they, like, you know what I mean? Where they 3D print them or whatever. That's what I want to see. We seen the aliens already. We want to see their factories.
I think
hold on. We want to see their cities, their shows, what they watch, what's their they love music, right? They love painting. I want to see their paintings.
I think there are instances in which even just simple technologies are plucked off of exotic vehicles and tried to be adapted to, prosaic U.S. airframes.
Yeah, the classic example I kind of run into, and I go back and forth on it, is like, I think Townsend Brown figured out real anti-gravity or whatever in the human kind of terrestrial context with these kind of capacitor experiments. But the thing he used to love to use was bismuth, because it was a high K dielectric, so it created more thrust. And then Gary Nolan from Jacques Vallée has these magnesium bismuth parts that he thinks came from Roswell.
Damn.
And so you have what appears to be something from kind of, otherworldly or, NHI, alien provenance. Actually helping in like an anti-gravity experiment that we know was conducted, in multiple contexts in the 1950s. So it's really crazy.
I think one of the big ones, one of the biggest sought-after capabilities that has probably been harnessed is electro-optic cloaking, signature management for U.S. airframes. I think to Dylan Borland, and he's talking about the triangle he saw over Langley. You remember that he's talking about how in the exterior of this triangle there seemed to be this lava-esque flow.
Yes.
The craft itself was this black metallic flake paint, but on top of the craft was this gold lava, plasma, some type of fluid going over and around the craft.
What?
I'm under this for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then the center light flashes 2 to 3 times, no sound, immediately shoots up to commercial jet level minimum, in my opinion, and I immediately feel static electricity all over my body, and then I smell the smell of after a thunderstorm or lightning storm, that really strong summer thunderstorm smell. Gets up to flight level. I'm trying to get my phone reset, and I can only see the center light at this point. If I didn't actually see it take off, I would have thought it was a star.
And it seemed like the triangle appeared around a light, almost like it was using signature management capabilities. Now, Dylan Borland, he said that I think he inferred he doesn't think the vehicle is human,
bro.
Because of what he learned after having some exposure into legacy programs. I still maintain that the triangles are likely human airframes, at least most of them, and electro-optic cloaking is a very sought-after capability. There have been instances in the early 2000s in which specifically the Army was interested in adapting electro-optic cloaking to next-generation combat vehicle. Think of an M1 Abrams tank with a cloaking device.
Trying to cloak a whole
that makes
thing.
sense, right?
What makes you think the electro-optic cloaking came from non-human technology?
Witness testimony.
Interesting.
Witness testimony. But that
which witness testimony?
He doesn't want to be
Okay.
spoken
Yeah,
about.
sure.
Yeah,
but
so-
like, can you speak high level to his?
Yeah,
if
very
you
high
don't say-
level.
Okay.
Somebody that I would trust with my life.
Okay.
But that makes sense, right? Like, what would be a sought after capability if some of these UFOs exhibit, some of the 5 or 6 observables, including low observability, and some of these employ electro-optic cloaking? That'd be a very sought after capability. I mean, what could be more valuable than our aerial platforms or our intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance platforms, ISR airframes that can literally go invisible and gather intelligence 100 feet away from a target over denied airspace?
Well, what does this witness say? Anything that you can relay as far as how exactly, NHI derived?
Oh, he doesn't know.
Okay.
There was there's vehicles that employed cloaking systems that there were facets of the Army that was trying to adapt this to U.S. vehicles. So that's kind of one of the reasons I started to use derivative technology. I love the Mark McCandless story, which I do believe that is a legitimate story of the Flux liner, and basically a copycat vehicle, basically the sports model that Bob talks about being basically an extraterrestrial vehicle we're trying to figure out and drive. So I like using the term derivative technology, because I don't think in every single case, every single facet of legacy program is specifically trying to create ARV or just create copycat vehicles. I think there are times where technologies are bridged or adapted to U.S. airframes.
And you think there is a kind of Majestic 12 equivalent today? So the Majestic 12 is this, elite military intelligence scientific unit created, under Truman and Eisenhower. Do you think that exists today? And do you think, like you mentioned Dick Cheney, so Walter Kern is actually a buddy of mine, and also knows David Grush, and he came out and he was like, I expected the head of the UFO legacy program to be like a Templar in Europe or something,
a Knight of Malta,
a Knight of Malta, but in fact, or Rosicrucian, whatever. But in fact, it was just Dick Cheney, all along. So, like, do you think there's a Majestic 12? Do you think somebody like a Dick Cheney was in the modern day equivalent of the Majestic 12?
Yeah, I think Dick Cheney absolutely was. I mean, he's passed now. I think he was the head of some facets of UFO programs for a while. As far as Majestic 12, it's so complicated with all the documents. I'm of the mind a group called Maj 12 did certainly exist. And then with the Majestic documents, I think there's some legitimate documents, some passage material documents, and then some obvious hoaxes.
Yep.
I'm particularly fond of the Eisenhower briefing document, the document that apparently briefed presidential incumbent Dwight D. Eisenhower upon the Majestic 12's creation. There's interesting details that line up with James V. Forrestal meeting with President Truman at the same time that the MJ-12 was allegedly set up. Same with Walter B. Smith being read into the MJ-12 after James Forrestal was thrown out of a naval hospital window. And apparently Walter B. Smith taking his replacement in Maj 12 and actual meetings with Truman on that exact date, as well as the Interplanetary Phenomenon Unit documents that were, I think, released in 1994, 1995 to Tim Cooper from a pseudonym, Thomas Cantwell.
Yeah,
those are interesting. The IPU doc specifically, the IPU
One second,
was
we'll get
kind of
some more
discovered through
tree.
FOIA requests in 1986, 1987 by researchers such as William Steinman. According to FOIA, IPU, the Interplanetary Phenomenon Unit, was an in-house Army unit only existing through institutional memory. There are people like Kevin Randall that kind of propose some debunks, like the IPU was like an internal processing unit for the mailroom of the Army.
Do you know who Steinman FOIA'd? Like, which government agency let out that the IPU existed?
It was Army Counterintelligence, right?
Army CIC,
Yeah,
okay.
Army.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
Army.
pretty interesting.
Right,
They're saying this thing exists, but it only exists in institutional memory. All the records were wiped.
Because apparently this was held under like a J2 or something at the time.
Interesting.
What's interesting, I kind of recently went through the IPU docs, specifically related to Sandia, because we should and can talk specifically probably about what institutions, what people, what places are probably engaged in the programs. But
For real,
the
damn
IPU
gross,
doc, the field report or the IPU report, it stated like July 1947, and this basically details allegedly how the Roswell retrieval incident went down. And the document talks about a special engineering detachment, SED, Manhattan Project Engineering Detachment and stuff, being sent out to the Roswell wreckage led by Colonel Hausbrook of the Armed Forces Special Weapons Project, AFSWP, basically to attend to the wreckage and so forth. The AFSWP is very interesting. It was started one half by James Forrestal and by another individual. The AFSWP has gone through a series of evolutions and today is known as the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, or DTRA. DTRA is what Dylan Borland had just said on the Weaponized podcast, housed old Atomic Energy Commission records that stated that UFOs were of extraterrestrial origin. The AFSWP was established in 1947 at Sandia Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right at the same time when Los Alamos Z Division, which was kind of their weapon ordnance arm, established operations at Sandia Base. So Sandia National Lab, which is a Department of Energy and an NSA National Lab, can kind of trace their roots back to Los Alamos Z Division at Sandia Base. So it's interesting that this AFSWP and Sandia kind of started and evolved around the same time. So the IPU docs are a really interesting thing that I think deserve a lot of attention from the Majestic documents.
That's fascinating. Doesn't Timothy Cooper, though, specifically doubt, like, the Majestic 12 stuff most? Didn't he say, like, I think these documents are bullshit?
Yeah. And a lot of people do. And, of course, how could you not when you have guys like Rick Doty and Bill Moore kind of involved? When at a MUFON conference, Bill Moore basically says, hey, I was instructed to sow disinformation into the community. That's why, like, if you're going to talk about the Majestic documents, it can never be, hey, this is evidence or kind of verification for a claim I'm exploring or something. It should be, the Majestic document should be used as an auxiliary. If you're talking about a subject and already have a strong thesis or strong argument, be like, hey, well, this is pretty interesting. These Majestic documents talk about this. But you can't rely on it too heavy because who knows, there's probably a lot of passive material like the Psalm 101 that Tim Phillips and Arrow have been using behind the scenes to talk about. You know that?
No, I didn't.
Tim Phillips went on the Event Horizon podcast and talked about that Arrow found.
Tell the audience who Tim Phillips is.
Oh, Tim Phillips is the very disgraced ex-deputy director of Arrow. After Sean Kirkpatrick turned coat and ran to Oak Ridge National Laboratories, ORNL, which is another DOE and NSA national laboratory, which weirdly deleted his job posting. Tim Phillips took over at Arrow, started immediately lashing out to Dave Grush on LinkedIn. You remember that? And then he was let go from Arrow for being a bit of a wild card, but he started doing podcast rounds similar to what Sean Kirkpatrick did and would tell specifically like the Event Horizon podcast during his tenure at Arrow. They found like this manual which talks about like packaging and unpackaging debris and crap.
That's why they don't want you to go on podcasts and talk about things right there, man, because they'll get you. That's how they put you on the blacklist.
Often bodies from an extraterrestrial vehicle crash and how this thing was like chock full of diagrams and all this stuff. And then he would kind of change his story, whether he was on air or off air, details of this document. Of course, this is the Psalm 101. And off air to various people, Sean Kirkpatrick made similar comments about the document. So it's weird that Arrow specifically is pushing that.
Yeah, it is weird. But you find all these sort of crazy connections with Kirkpatrick and his past and the DOE.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just kind of crazy. Okay, so I want to rehash this for the audience.
Too much.
You just threw out a lot of names and acronyms.
Yeah.
So you have somebody like Dick Cheney, maybe at the top.
Yeah.
And then you have these 6 different kind of high up intelligence organizations.
And DOD stuff.
And DOD stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have DOD plus intelligence organizations.
Yeah.
And then below that, you have the FFRDCs. And then below that, you have the contractors.
Defense Industrial Base.
And so it's like when Jake Barber comes out and he says, I'm the fingertips or whatever, like, it's because he's working at, he says, you could pick your 2. And I think Danny Sheehan accused him of being at Northrop. So maybe we could go with whatever Sheehan says. I don't know.
I'm surprised he said that.
Yeah.
Can you say anything about the companies that you worked for in the context of these UFO crash retrievals?
Look, man, if you took 2 guesses, you'd get both of them right on the first try.
There you go.
But like Barber is doing kind of the just tip of the spear, job, and he's not given the full context. And then the FFRDCs have a little bit more context, some insulation as far as federal funding. And then above that's the intelligence organizations, and then above.
And let me make it clear, that's the guy who actually retrieved an egg-shaped pearl thing. He was a helicopter pilot. Went and he worked for how he said it himself. I'm not saying it. He worked for every 3-letter word agency or whatever the acronym that you can name. All of them. He said if you were to name 2, you get both of them right and the first one right. So he went to go retrieve this pearl-shaped object, like an egg-shaped object. And when he went to go get it, it connected with him. Connected with him like in a spiritual way, like an angel did. And all he went to go do is just go pick it up and take it. And might be paraphrasing, but he said something. It was like he wanted me to worry about humanity and everything, just like an angel, like God. You know what I mean?
Of that, you have like what, cabinet level people like Dick
Probably.
Cheney? Like, do you have a sense of like who the equivalent of Dick Cheney is now?
I don't know, but if I had to guess, it'd be somebody with a naval background and an intelligence community background.
Interesting.
It seems like naval programs have been tip of the spear for a long time and deal with a lot of really sensitive stuff because they also deal with the subject of USO.
Yep.
And that sort of transmedial capability to travel underwater undetected, and their hidden intelligence agency, the Neuro, seems very high priority. So I would imagine this is somebody with a...
Neuro is the people who work underwater. That's like the unknown. Like how we have Area 51, that's known. They've been public already. Neuro's unpublic. They haven't came out public yet, but they work underwater.
Joint naval and intelligence community background.
Makes sense. Yeah, Harold Malmgren kept emphasizing that the Office of Naval Intelligence knew way more than meets the eye.
Test details are controlled by naval intelligence.
It's the oldest intelligence agency in the U.S. in the 1890s.
Damn, let that sink in.
If that was like, at his time, 60s and 70s, you would think that there would be this through line between then and now. You obviously have, rumors of Bobby Ray Inman, being sort of involved, with this stuff as well. And so, maybe he would be somebody at the Cheney level.
Do you anticipate that any of the recovered vehicles would ever become available for technological research outside of the military circles?
Again, I honestly don't know. 10 years ago, the answer would have been no.
Yeah.
Whether as time has evolved, they're beginning to become more open on it, is a possibility.
Let's actually go through a couple of those, like below Cheney, kind of at the tip of the spear for the administrator level.
Yeah.
I think a lot of individuals who have spearheaded or are spearheading or have high-level exposure to UFO legacy programs have extensive backgrounds in the NRO. I have a couple documents here. Maybe we can go through a couple of these.
Let's do it.
These are just kind of people that I'd love to talk about.
Cool.
So for the NRO, you have maybe we could start with Bobby Ray Inman, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Ray Inman, when he spoke to Bob Eschler in 1989, 1988, he referred NASA mission specialist Bob Eschler to Sumner Shapiro, director of naval intelligence, as well as R. Everett or R. Evans Heinemann. His naming convention's a little weird. Heinemann was the NRO Program B director from 1982 to 1989. NRO Program B was essentially a consolidation of reconnaissance activities between the NRO and CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology. And the ground element of NRO Program B was established at Pine Gap, Australia. I know Pine Gap is super spooky, but...
they call it Australia's Area 51.
Right, right. And Bobby Ray Inman basically said, hey, to Eschler, if you want to know about crash retrieval programs and recovered technical vehicles, go talk to Heinemann. Other interesting people with high-level connections to the NRO include Donald Kerr. Donald Kerr was mentioned in Oki Shannon's 1985 Advanced Theoretical Physics Working Group documents. This was a physics group held at BDM International in 1985 at their McLean facility.
Talk about name dropping in this episode right here, bro. They're dropping.
Super, super, super interesting thing that apparently like John Alexander spoke at. Stubblebine was involved with all this stuff. And
Hal Puthoff.
Yeah, and Oki Shannon's notes, it's like, ask Don Kerr for funding when talking about like UFO reverse engineering programs.
Whoa.
Donald Kerr was, of course, high-level position in the NRO. He was director of EG&G. He was director of Los Alamos, director of SAIC, deputy director of the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology. So there's this specific weird, really specific weird kind of pairing relationship between the NRO and CIA DS&T.
Yeah.
And with that CIA DS&T, back in 2003, the CIA Directorate of Science and Technology, which maybe we'll describe directorates a little bit. So I said the NRO had Program B at Pine Gap. Early days of the NRO, it had Program A, B, C, and D. At a time in the 90s or so, this was reorganized into directorates, just kind of subgroups under the NRO, under the CIA. So I think a lot of UFO legacy programs are stuffed within these directorates. And to speak about the NRO and the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology, there's a lot of really weird crossovers there. So I think it's important to look at individuals with connections to NRO, CIA, DS&T.
Yep.
2 high-level, almost cabinet positions within the United States government and the MITRE Corporation, which is an FFRDC.
Yep.
There's a very tangled web between NRO, DS&T, MITRE, and then 2 offices within the United States government I'd like to talk about a little bit. This would be the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, OSUDANS. This has previously gone through numerous naming conventions as the Office of the Undersecretary for Defense for Acquisition, renamed into the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Technology, then renamed to the Office of the Undersecretary for Defense for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics, finally to its naming convention today for Acquisition and Sustainment.
That's a lot better right there. God damn, no one could say the goddamn
is the
name.
office kind of named in the Wilson Davis notes as holding kind of records to special carve-out holdover programs that housed kind of direct access to legacy programs that Flag Officer Thomas Wilson allegedly started to look through, where he found the Watch Committee, high-level gatekeepers for UFO legacy programs. One of the individuals he spoke about, who was kind of director of the OWSTAT at that time and permanent SAPOC, Special Access Program Oversight Committee member, was Mr. Paul Kaminsky. Paul Kaminsky is an individual that I think would be interesting to look at a little more in regards to UFO legacy programs. He was, of course, in the OWSTAT, and he was, of course, on the board of trustee for the MITRE Corporation now.
Got it.
And so that the OWSTAT that's named all throughout the Wilson Davis notes, that is a Department of Defense position. Its counter position in the intelligence community is called the DD.
They say when you see an angel, it's like feeling all the love in the world at once, almost overwhelming. Maybe that's how they connect with you. 100%, champ. Hell yeah. Gotta be a way of connecting with you, man. Yeah. Or it's a way they know that that's how they're gonna keep you calm, right? Instead of scaring you, right? They come in ways that they could keep you calm. And that's what we know as far as like religion, right? They'll tap into our most vulnerable things.
DNI-ATNF, the Deputy Director for National Intelligence for Acquisition, Technology, and Facilities. So the OWSTAT, or now notice today, Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition and Sustainment, and this DDNI are 2 sides of the same coin. These 2 offices, according to the GAO, they have oversight over NRO program acquisitions. Okay?
Interesting.
So that DDNI ATNF is rather interesting. On one hand, you have Paul Kaminsky, who was OWSTAT and MITRE. On the other hand, you have somebody like Don Meyerix right here, who is MITRE and DDNI ATNF with a long agency background, very weird agency background.
Former deputy director of the CIA for Science and Technology. And we know a couple of, connections there is Glenn Gaffney, obviously director of Science and Technology for the CIA.
Are any of you willing to name specific gatekeepers within the root cell of the UAP-SAP Federation?
Oh.
I have a name for you.
Go ahead.
Glenn Gaffney, CIA.
Glenn Gaffney, CIA.
Now you have all this congressional testimony that he specifically, blocked this, moving of exotic, non-human origin technology that was under Lockheed, that was supposed to go to Bigelow Aerospace in 2008. And Glenn Gaffney apparently blocked this.
2008,
twice.
2010.
Wow. Crazy.
And you can thank the Aero Historical Report Volume 1 for talking that out. 2008, it seems there was a...
So this jar right here, I have a separate jar that I'm putting to the side, right? And I got 3 jars actually that I got. So I got the big jar, I got the little jar, and I got the micro jar. This micro jar right here is to give back where I got my genetics from, right? Which I got mine from Area 51. So I broke into Area 51, got these genetics. So I'm going to break back into Area 51 and just go show my love back. You know what I mean? Just that's what that jar is for right there. So, but they are getting the best ones though. So I have to, as I'm trimming, I'm like, putting my best ones here, the lowers here, and then this one right here gets the absolute best. And that's what I'm going to go give back. That's going to be the give back the thank you. You know what I mean?
First attempt that was blocked by James Clapper.
Whoa.
The second event was the Kona Blue failed PSAPper.
So James Clapper blocked
That's
a
what the
movie?
Arrow Historical Report Volume 1 says.
Well, that's interesting because isn't James Clapper in the Age of Disclosure
Indeed.
movie? So what's up with that?
I don't
Why
know.
is he playing
I don't
both
know.
sides?
General Clapper, the former DNI in the documentary. I certainly applaud him for at least speaking out in general. He goes on, I believe, I've only seen clips of Age of Disclosure, not the whole thing, where there was a program when he was the director of national intelligence where they were tracking these vehicles over Area 51, of course, the famed classified test location. And I'm a little bit disappointed as a fellow Air Force officer, and certainly General Clapper rose to the ranks as 3-star general. That's all he said in the documentary, that was a program he was aware of. In fact, without being inappropriate, I will say that General Clapper was well aware of the crash retrieval issue, managed the crash retrieval issue, and when he was the DNI, USDI, and DIA director, he placed people in critical roles to manage this issue,
General Clapper.
both publicly and I'll just say non-publicly as well. And I'll allow the audience distill what I'm saying at the risk of being inappropriate or going too far with my discussion.
The director of national intelligence, James Clapper, calls me, Mike, I need you to go through all of it. I need the team to go through all of NSA's holding all of its files, and I need everything that you have on UFOs. And I'm like, what, sir? You want me to do a review of our databases on UFOs?
We interrupt this broadcast for a very important briefing.
You've been selected purely at random and definitely not monitored to attend a routine informational briefing regarding odd happenings across the globe.
There's absolutely nothing unusual about this.
That's right. It's probably nothing. Agents Ramsey and Michaels will embark on a perfectly ordinary North American tour to discuss strange sightings.
Oh, this is for real.
And evidence that will force the government to say,
it's probably nothing.
Each evening sessions will feature expert analysis, audience interrogation, and at least one moment where you turn to the person next to you and whisper, well, but rest assured, it's probably nothing. Should you experience confusion, excitement, or sudden clarity during the show, do not worry.
Probably nothing.
Probably nothing. Whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or simply dating one, your attendance is highly encouraged and statistically safe.
So if you're in Austin, Texas,
or in Montreal, Canada, go to itsprobablynothing.com to secure your seats today. And remember, crash saucers, mysterious abductions, nuclear flyovers, it's probably nothing.
Yo, do you know how much goddamn publications gonna come out of this? How many people coming out public? Holy cow, yo. That's amazing. We got Jesse Michaels and the guy from Area 52, Chris Ramsey. Chris, we're gonna say Chris. Damn, we got the homie in the building. You're gonna stop by and watch this with us? Let's go, baby. Yes, sir. Let's put him down here. What it do, champ?
What's up, brother?
Yes, sir. We here, baby. We here. Hell yeah.
You good without the headphones? That's what's up.
Yeah, man. Hey, we just got to make sure we don't get an echo. Everybody in the chat, let me know if we get an echo, man. We got an echo right now.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Should sound good to know.
Hey guys, Jesse here from American Alchemy.
Chris Ramsey here from Area 52.
We're so excited to come hang out with all of you in Austin and Montreal.
For now, we've only got these two cities locked in, but hopefully we're going to open up a bunch more in the coming weeks.
And VIP seats in Austin are already sold out, but there are still seats left in both cities.
We've got some insane guests lined up for these theaters and cannot wait to see all of you.
Go to itsprobablynothing.com to get your tickets today.
You see this, bro? They got a itsnothing.com tour they got going on. They're going to go everywhere in the United States talk about UFOs. That's clean, bro.
You see, the CIA DS&T, according to Kona Blue, has had direct involvement in blocking UFO legacy programs. Recall the excellent reporting of Christopher Sharp, UK journalist?
Yes.
He broke a great story about the CIA's Office of Global Access, which was created under the DS&T in the year 2003.
Yeah.
That is basically tasked with foreign...
What up, champ?
I'm trying to talk to the chat to see if they hear us clear.
Oh, hell yeah.
No echo.
Let me see. I can turn this up right here. Let me know.
Okay, I just gotta be right here. All right, this one, the camera over here. All right.
I'm about to hear him. Oh, you good, champ? Yeah, you good. No echo.
Yeah, I don't see nobody saying nothing in the chat though.
Nah, I hear it on myself. I got the playback right here in front of me. That way, that's the only way I can see the, because I would show the buzz, but I can't show the buzz because or else I won't be able to get my comments. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right, yeah, all good, all good.
Yeah, no, I can hear it over here. Oh, you sound perfect, bro.
It's been good, man. You got an off day today?
Yeah, you sound hella good, bro. You sound perfect. You can hear perfect. It's perfect.
UFO crash retrievals. This is a logistics agency. This is a combat support agency. So, you know, let's just say in Honduras, an egg-shaped craft goes down. The CIA OGA would be responsible for getting, you know.
What happened, champ?
Hash Holio said he could hear us, so yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hash Holio. We got you, champ. Thank you. Thank you.
JSOC Tier 1 adjacent assets and probably the Department of Energy Nuclear Emergency Support Team and other assets down to retrieve the craft. Do you know the first director of OGA, the Office of Global Access?
Is that Doug Wolf?
This is Doug Wolf. Do you know Doug Wolf additionally spent 16 years in the NRO? He was the executive assistant to the director of the National Reconnaissance Office.
Whoa.
He was indeed
16
CIA
years.
DS&T deputy director. He indeed started the OGA.
Whoa.
And indeed, he was the DDNI ATNF, the deputy director for National Intelligence for Acquisition, Technology, and Facilities.
That's
Has
a lot of
direct oversight
acronyms.
over NRO acquisitions.
Crazy.
There's a ton of people like that. There's an individual named Mark Moynihan. If you
What's that, champ?
So that's when you know he's important, when he got all them acronyms.
For real, bro. Like, damn, that, you know, it's crazy, bro. Like, to be able to just retain all them goddamn acronyms and know what they do and then that, you know what I mean? That guy fucking retains a lot of information, man.
Yeah.
But like my homie always says, bro, if you do this shit every day, that's just what comes natural to you because like those people tend to know nothing else about nothing else, right? They just know that. Like their brain don't really have no more fucking room for nothing else, bro. Like I bet you that guy can't fucking change a kitchen sink out, bro, you know? He ain't got the capabilities to do nothing else but just to keep the information he got, and that's it. But I mean, hey, that's why he's so important. That man's that's a lot of information to keep fucking in, bro. To know who's like, you know how Norma G does that shit to our community. You know what I mean? Norma G knows what everybody does, who they're linked with, what they got going on, the schedules. Like that's a lot of fucking. But that's all she. You know, that's all he do. You know.
Yeah, insider, a lot of insider information.
Exactly. Yep, they're all tapped in with them in a way, you know, and that's the only way they're able to talk about it, really. Because please believe this guy's allowed to talk about what he's allowed to talk about. You know, he's not just out there. I think he's just informing the world on what people are in charge of doing. Right? That's all he's doing.
Doing a little pre-harvesting too, man.
Oh hell yeah, baby! That's what we in.
But,
we in the same boat.
It ain't fully dried yet, though. I usually let it go like till tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
But I probably would let it even go longer than that. Like tomorrow would be 10 days dry. I usually do like a 10-day dry, but this like can go 12 days.
Oh shit.
Right now it's 9 days. I ain't getting no snapping, but I like light snap. I don't like a dry snap. You know what I'm saying? Like a light bendy snap to it.
Yeah.
It's still good though. I've been smoking this shit since like
no, hell yeah.
I've been harvesting it early since like 2 days ago to what, like probably like day 7. I started fucking with it.
Hell yeah, bro. That's what
good.
I'm literally on the same boat too, bro. Harvesting early and shit. Yeah, man. You
know, you run out of trees and shit.
Exactly that.
Yeah, that shit looking good.
Let me see. Let me put you up because I got bad eyes, and then that way everybody else can see too. Aw, damn, bro. That's fire right there. Let's see. Pull it where your
Blueberry
hand is at.
muffin Crawford
Yeah, a little bit back, a little bit back, a little bit back. Right there, bro. That's where you can see a good focus. That's nice right there. Hey, it's
That's that
chunky too. You
blueberry
could,
muffin Crawford 4G. It's an auto.
yeah, bro. Blueberry muffin. Remember I told you that was a great one for me. That was a good one for me.
This shit, it got like one of them, you know, those nose like opening terps, man. Like you smell it, that shit is like opens, clears your sinuses and shit.
Yeah, bro. I know exactly what you're
So like
talking
a nice
about.
little nugget from it.
Damn, go back a little bit. Let's see. Go back. Go to the center. Go to the center.
Yeah, this camera.
Turn it to the side a
yeah.
little bit, like upward. There it is, right there, champ. Yes, sir. That's beautiful right there. And you can tell it's a pretty dense snug too. You don't see no air through it, nothing. You can tell that's it's a little tight, you know what I mean? And it's still in the drying process.
Yeah, it's still in the dry. It ain't still been, I ain't been cured or nothing.
Yeah, because
off the stem.
once it cures, it'll like compact even more, you know what I mean? With the other nugs on top of it and everything, it'll even get tighter, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
See the trichomes all through it. Got
Hell
the
yeah.
terps.
Yes, sir.
Got no complaints about it right now. Shit had me fucked up. You know what's good when you smoke it, then you wake up high.
That's right, baby.
Go to sleep on that shit and wake up high as fuck.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. I like that. That's great.
Yeah, man.
That's some good weed right
I don't
there.
like it when it's too dry. I like it even though it's wet.
Yeah.
It's a little bit wet that I like. I still like that it's this consistency because I don't like when it's all dry and chalky. You know what I'm saying? Dusty.
Yeah. Nah, for real, because it's a teeter totter when you let it too dry, then you gotta let it moisten up. It's like the time that this is what I like to do. I'm with you. So I like to let it get to the point where they don't truly snap, and then I rehydrate them, right? And then I open up the jars till they get dry again, and then I rehydrate them again by closing the jar. And then I open up the jars and let them get dry again, the outer. And then I close it, and I just do that. I keep doing that process up until the point where I open up the jar, and it gets dry, and then I go back to it, and it's still the same. You know what I mean?
Right.
Once it doesn't moisten back up, that's it. I close the jars, and I tend to keep them closed. I keep checking up on them every now and then, and I just hear the psst, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's about it, bro. I'm exactly with you, bro. I don't wait till they get fucking truly snappy, but I do get this little bit like this.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I get that.
Right.
That's why I do get in some of them. Some of them don't fully snap, but that's my go-to right here. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like that light. You want that light snap. You don't want the snap where you see in twigs and
pow. It's like an explosion. You know what I mean? They're going off. Yeah, bro. Nah, we don't get that far. But yeah, this is a nice little snap, but some don't snap though. Like, you know, some will bend. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the I also like it when it's ready. When I don't have to do too much to the leaves. Like if the leaves kind of just gently come off, right? That's when they're ready. Like if I'm trying to trim the leaf and it's just like not.
Yeah, like this.
If it's too wet.
You see this ain't even been trimmed yet, bro. This is just for, like I said, I just cut it off the bread. It ain't even been trimmed, but it ain't that hairy, so I don't.
Right.
Like for me, I wouldn't even trim this. I'd smoke this as is. I'd just smoke it as is.
Right. Hell yeah. The only thing, if you were like that, if that would have been a market weed, if you were putting that on the market, the only thing you'd have to do to that is just like give it a little haircut with the hairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's it. But for you, shit, that's done. Put that in a jar and it'll flatten out with the rest of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's sugar leaf. All sugar leaf anyway.
It sure is. Oh yeah. I like how some of these came out in spears like this, like some of them. And then some.
I like that knock structure.
Yeah, and then some came out like in small little popcorns, like little tiny little popcorns, but they're still good. See, like they came out and like little popcorns, like popcorn. It like has different, you know, structures.
Yeah, okay, those are like the lowers, right?
Nah, they were at the top.
That was the top.
Yeah,
the top bud?
That's what I'm talking about. Like the plant, like, and they were different. Same clone, but in a different pot. You know what I mean? So bro, I think these are the ones that I had top, bro. Remember that I told you that it was getting too tall and I had topped them?
Right.
And they started growing out like this. They were just started like the little popcorns. That's why I got
Yeah,
some of these. That's right, bro. That's right. That's why. That's how they really grow like that. And then they started growing outward into little popcorns like this. I remember.
Big said he just checked his plants. PE might not make it till Wednesday. Tracks look right.
Fucking go, baby. I got my plants right now in all 24 hours of light and shit. All of them. 210s. The 2x2s ready to come down. I got a few in 3x3 ready to come down already. So as soon as I clear out this tent, I'm gonna put probably. I'm gonna probably
Usually
dry.
how I like to run it 16 and 8 for the week before last, and then 24 hours the last week before harvest.
Yeah, I got that from Bruce Bugby, man. Dr. Bruce Bugby.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
New studies. I mean, we used to run it in 24 hours of dark, and you know, I never
did the 24 hours of
Nah,
dark.
I did. Trust me, I did. But when I would come back, I never saw a difference. This, I see a difference. I see a difference because
you see more trichome production.
I see leaf structures, more trichomes. Because my plants are sensitive to light. That's how I get my purple pigments. A lot of people do it different ways. I get it through a lot of light. That's my plants.
Causes it to do the purple.
That's how I get my purple. My purple is all light. Light is what does it, because I know this for a fact, because the plants that are shading the other plants don't get purple until I let them get to light. That's how I get my lights, my plants purple. So anything that's above the light will turn purple, but if you start looking in the bottom, they'll be green. But as soon as I expose them, let some motherfucking light get down there, open them legs up, let the lights get down there, they'll turn purple in a day or two, like less than a day or two. Especially when I do the 24 hours. When I do the 24 hours of light, bro, when I come back, they be black. Like right now, everything's black in there, bro. Everything's like black roses in my garden type shit. And then until I open it up, then you can see some green in the middle where the sun didn't really hit like that. Exactly. I don't do cold waters. The temperatures are all 60. Like right now it's 74. It's a little warm up in here, but it's a warm day in Vegas today. It's a nice little.
So you're not an ice baster?
Nah, I don't do no ice, no nothing.
Me neither, man. A lot of people don't swear by it though. A lot of my homies swear by it.
Yeah, I've heard that in the beginning, man. Give them some ice baths and shit. It'll shock them into purple.
Piff, what up, Piff? You're on 24 hours right now because of
let's go, baby. I got some re-veggies going in too. I
never re-vegged the plant yet, man.
Really? Okay. See, I had a thrip problem. Remember I told you my Area 51 came with a thrip, bro. And then so it almost annihilated my whole everything. So I had to fucking, damn near restart everything. I killed a lot of shit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm only keeping the 51. That's it. Fuck everything else. And then I had like this transfer moment where I'm like, fuck, I can't do that. I can't lose the trap house, So I killed off I killed off everything. So all I have as clones is the 51 and the trap house original, right? But then, and then I got some more clones of the 333, and then I have clones of the OC, which is my octane. That's one of my strongest gases that I ever have. It's pure octane. It's pure gas. It's like, but that one ain't.
Call it octane?
Yeah, octane. But that one's crossed with the 22, so I haven't seen what it's done yet. You know what I mean? It's in flower right now. It's late bloomer, so it's like that. I'm gonna harvest the whole tent, and I think only two are gonna stay from the originals because obviously they're all seed, different strains, so they're not all gonna be finished at the same time. But the trap house 22 with the trap house grape, that one's hella late, bro. But it's my biggest plant in there. That motherfucker huge, it's big, it's gonna yield a lot, but it's just weeks behind, bro. For some reason, I don't know.
Okay.
Weeks.
See, it's hard for me to re-veg, man, because I damn near be taking everything off my plants. But I get it. If you got re-veg in mind, you're not finna strip it too hard. You're gonna leave a little something.
Yeah, I always re-veg the bottoms and shit. Like I never do the tops. I always like cut everything from the top and just leave all the shrug at the bottom, like the lowers and all that shit. That's what I would do. Leave, Oh yeah, hell yeah, Pip. Yeah, the re-veggies are pretty easy. There's just that one plant you got to keep in the corner, just somewhat happy. You know what I mean? She don't ask for
Yeah,
much.
that's
She
my
don't.
whole thing, man. After a point for a period of time, I get tired with the plant. I want a new one. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to re-veg it,
A
but
a good re-veg project could
that's
take
it gotta be like some super duper fire for you to
for
want to
real.
respect it like that.
That's why you do it, because when you got something, you're like fuck, and you gotta take a cut or whatever, re-veg it and shit. But taking cuts is harder than a re-veg plant though. You know,
That's what I was about to say. Wouldn't it be better just to super crop it and then re-veg?
it's harder to do because once it's
Some
already
super crop clones.
in flower, bro, it's like harder to clone a plant in flower. Like I have some right here that I did a bunch of them, but it's just in the way it is, it's just harder like that. It's so much easier to clone vegging plant than it is a flowering plant. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you could do it. It's not undoable. But I would say re-vegging a plant takes about 3 months of your time, bro. Because the first month is just
That's what I'm
recuperating.
saying. And after 3 months, you can damn near grow an auto.
A whole thing. A whole thing. And then so like when you re-veg it, it's gotta grow out, it's gotta bounce back into the the ugly stage, you know what I mean? And then it comes back nice. And then you gotta take a cut of that right there. Cause that's how I like to do it. I don't like to really flower the re-veg. I will, she'll flower out. I'll flower her out, but I wouldn't make a mother plant out of it, so I'll flower her out. But then so you gotta take a clone of that, and then you gotta wait for the clone to fucking root and shit, and then that rooting clone would then turn into either your mother plant or whatever you got going on. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you re-vegging to get more mother plant clones.
Exactly. That's what my purpose, and that's how I got the trap house. When I had my original when I had my original Instagram, you would see.
A1 in the farm. What up, my brother?
That's right, baby. A1 day one. I'm gonna put up my motherfucking email up there. Send me an email, and you can jump on with us, champ.
I think they want got the link already.
I don't think.
He might have a link already.
I don't think he do. I don't think he do. Las Vegas Exotic Genetics at the Gmails. Send me the link. Send me an email. Just whatever. It don't matter. Send me the email. Let me pin it to the top. I gotta go back over here. Let me see here. If I come here, open that up. Aw, man. We exited out of the video. Damn it. Let's get back over here. Oh, yeah. Beans still on. Salute to Beans. Let me see here. That's where we were right there.
If you find him on LinkedIn,
I'm gonna press pause on that, and then I'm gonna open up a new tab. Go to my page, so that way I can pin that to the top. Cause I guess that's the only way I can pin comments.
Why is it showing me like in this little pocket, right? You see that?
What?
I don't see it on the screen though, but on ours, it's like a little pocket, little window with me there, and it's showing like my audio moving up and down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't there before.
Let me see here. Let me go to mine. So I'm gonna go to that right there.
But you don't see it on the regular stream though, because
Yeah,
I don't
man.
see it on the TV. I don't see it on my phone right here.
All right.
I don't know. Maybe that's the thing with me. I don't know.
All right. So I pinned it to the top. We got to pin.
You pinned the link?
Yeah. No. I pinned the email.
Oh, the email. Okay.
Yes, sir. Pinned the email, so that way they could go check out the email, and then.
Yeah, maybe I was covering it. Maybe I had. Maybe it's probably been up there. And I just was covering it. Maybe I don't know.
Your audio? Oh, so you can monitor your audio. Oh, that audio thing up at the top that says the time.
No, it's like a little it's like a thumbnail video to showing me,
Uh-huh.
and it's showing my audio moving. So it's like I got this big screen of me, and then I got like a little box of me right here too.
Gotcha.
Video.
Oh wait, that's probably because I had shared my screen. So look, if I share my screen, do you see that? Does that nah?
Yeah, I still see it.
Oh, okay.
I still see it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Like it's just another video feed of me under in the corner and shit. And it shows my audio going up and down as I talk. You don't see it though?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I thought it was just my that was me who see it. Yeah, it's like it says solo on it, add left, add right. Does it
Yeah,
say
it's
that to
all the
you?
way, all the way bottom left.
It says your thing, your audio going up. That's what That's what I see. That's what I always see. Every time you
Oh,
guys,
you always see a
I
little
always
picture?
see
You
that.
always
Yeah, because that
because
way,
I don't see the same thing with you though. You're
no.
just regular.
Yeah, right. Because I'm the host.
Okay.
Yeah, because
It's
I'm.
like it got me double screen or double video.
Yeah. Let's put this on.
He's total spook of spooks.
Okay.
This guy,
But like I said,
DDNI,
nobody else
ATNF,
sees
this
it.
guy.
I don't see it on the TV at all.
Yeah, nah, they ain't gonna see it.
I
It's
don't see
only.
it on the laptop either. It's only on my phone.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I might have pressed something. I don't know.
You probably seen like a little, or it's probably me. Probably me who did something. I'm over here fucking with shit. I don't know what I'm doing,
I don't
bro.
want to touch nothing to fuck some shit up either. I'm just whatever. It's cool. I didn't notice it before.
Hell yeah.
Two different videos of me.
CIA, OGA, CIA, DS&T, NRO. So there seems to be this really interesting relationship with people who have been
I wonder if
labeled
I turn this
as
down,
UFO
I can
legacy
hear you
program
better. Let me see.
gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And one of those gatekeeping offices, the DS&T and the NRO.
That's better.
It seems
right
like
there.
this revolving door old boys club where you go from the DS&T of the CIA to MITRE Corporation or you know some other federally funded research and development. You go to RAND or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's,
or you go to the NRO or
I can't stress this enough about the importance of MITRE.
Yeah.
The DOE National Labs,
What happened, champ?
I saw I was reading the title. It said Marine shot by injured alien in UFO crash. Do they have pictures of this injured alien in the UFO crash?
Man, I don't know. Is that what they got?
That's what I'm asking you. I came in in the middle of it.
Nah, man. We're trying to find out right now. That's what we try to find out. It been saying a bunch of shit, bro. It been saying a lot of things, man.
Sandia, Oak Ridge, Lawrence Livermore, Los Alamos. Those are critical, but the importance of MITRE. MITRE is the most overlooked entity in all of this subject.
Why do you think that is?
Because they deal with naval programs.
Interesting.
Subject of USO.
And what's their role with respect to the Navy? Is it like tech protection or is it
probably
John Doe? You think the aliens in the water, champ?
Oh, could be some bases under there, man. Ain't no telling. Or it could. I mean, the aliens could just be the government. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They got bases everywhere, so I wouldn't put it past them.
That's crazy, man. Hell yeah.
Everything.
UFO related stuff or
INDUSEC, industrial security, to SAP management, to monitoring large craft under the water, to material exploitation.
Pause it for a sec.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it, man. If a lot of the shit they say have been re-engineered or reverse engineered since fucking the 60s.
For real.
They shit gotta be whatever we see them in is gonna look extraterrestrial. You know what I'm saying?
For real. They even said that they've been plucking like little objects off the UFOs and like adding them to our shit. Just like simple ass things that they got on they shit. They like it's like a pick apart.
Right.
And they try to integrate that shit.
Extraterrestrials actually, government reverse engineered the crafts and shit.
For real. Hell
Remember,
yeah.
a lot of people thought the fucking stealth bomber didn't exist until the
Facts.
fucking.
Bro, that has to have
was a UFO.
facts. Big facts. That has to have that right there has to have a little plucked off part of a UFO, bro. It's just like a little. You know what I mean? They said, hey, earlier in the episode before you were here, bro, they had plucked off a little doohickey off a UFO that helped them with cloaking, bro, like a cloaking mechanism, and they were putting it, they were testing this shit on a tank, bro, on a big ass war tank.
Yep.
Like
that's how I think they said the stealth bomber was like the first shit you couldn't see on radar plane, right?
For real. Yeah, the radar wouldn't pick that shit up. Yeah. And they kept claiming that it was like some type of aerodynamic shit. Hell no, I bet you it was technology, like some jams, like some type of jammer. You know what I mean? unidentified jammer. Like
I
it'll
don't put
just
nothing against this government, man.
for real, for real. Yeah, they
Got a
definitely.
whole bunch of secrets we don't know about.
And like we're
Probably will
talking.
never know about.
And like we're talking, chap, it ain't really the government. It is the government, but it ain't the government. Like that's why this guy right here is like known for dropping the acronyms. Every time he drops an acronym, it's like a different.
You know, higher ups in the government.
Yeah, bro. Like like it's like, and then you got the private companies too and shit that have their own says and do's and shit. It's so many people involved. Lockheed, all them. It's so many people involved in, and they all doing their own research, bro. It's like not even everybody's studying the same shit. There's so much of them, like triangles, round, fucking cigar shaped. Everyone got their own shit that they working on that they just got their hands on. You know what I mean? So like everyone's got different information, different knowledge, different shit, bro. It's insane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hell yeah. Let me know when you want me to pause something. Let me know.
To briefing, oversight channels that exist, to doing all sorts of stuff. The MITRE pipeline of people who have worked for MITRE, as you can see, Paul Kaminsky, Don Meyerix, Donald Kerr, numerous people who have allegedly been associated with UFO legacy programs end up at MITRE.
Well, it's funny. I know them in the context of like holding these anti-gravity conferences.
Yeah.
And like, I think Ning Li spoke at one in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
She was this famous Chinese-American, anti-gravity researcher at University of Alabama, Huntsville. She claimed to make all these breakthroughs in like weight reduction above spinning superconductors.
Right?
Yeah, amazing. And or I think it's weight reduction, which is a little distinct from mass reduction.
You're right. Yeah.
But yes, same sort of ridiculously crazy concept if you can do it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And she's saying all this stuff about gravitons and sort of these alternating current rotating superconductors. She's saying she wants to create free energy for the world. She's citing Hal Puthoff and talking about electrically polarizable vacuums and stuff.
Ooh.
And then she gets
She talking about free energy, champ. Like talking about making she's already got things that can be electrified and turn a certain way. Huh?
Then she came up missing or dead.
Oh, for real?
That. Yeah, he probably gonna say it.
Oh, damn. Because if you think about it, oh shit, we got another guest. Let me see here.
Might be day one.
Let's go. Let me come up here real quick. Let's see here. Day one. Yes, sir. Let's come on.
What it do, y'all?
Hey.
Everybody got me looking all wild right now.
Yes, sir. What up, champ? What you got going on, man?
What it do? I'm just chilling, man. Just on my Sunday day off. See, I'm looking all wild and stuff.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. Happy Sunday to you.
What's going on?
Oh, man. We just up here, doing the same old thing we do on a normal day basis. Except we doing it with y'all now,
This is a different. This is a
breaking
different
down some of the blueberry muffin.
It's
He's
StreamYard,
breaking
but
down
it
his
seems a little
stuff.
different.
Pretty sure you got some stuff to break down over
there. Nah, yeah, day one.
Echo again.
This is a different platform, champ. It's a different platform.
Am I echoing?
Nah, you're not echoing. You just hear.
Yeah, he is. You're gonna have to just deal with that, bro. That's how it is when the third one. He echoing. Am I echoing to you though?
John?
Yeah,
I'm
but
echoing too.
let me see if it let me see if it's echoing to everybody
I can hear
else.
you. I can hear you echo, but this is how it went last time we had 3
Let me see.
people
Hold
up
on
here.
a second.
I could hear the third person echo, but they couldn't hear me. They couldn't hear it. So I might be the only one hearing you echo right now. You might be the only one hearing yourself echo. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me get my headphones, dude, because I can't hear.
All right. But do I sound right? All right. Well, I'll wait.
Hey, I ain't got no audio over there, man. I don't think people can hear it.
You don't hear him at all?
Yeah, I don't think nobody can hear us right now.
Oh, I heard him. That's what I'm saying. I can hear him. He does sound echoey though on my end. I don't know if anybody in the chat, what's up? Can y'all hear him? Do he sound echoey?
Oh, he's not echoing, champ. Nah, he's good. He's only echoing to.
No, now I can't hear him though. Now I can't hear him. You can hear him now, right? But I can't hear him now. I heard him earlier though. Remember, that's what I'm saying. That's how it was the last time. It was an echo, but it was only I was the only one that could hear it. So I was like, fuck it.
Oh, okay,
Keep it on,
okay.
keep the show going. But but Buddy echoed the whole time he was on. Your boy.
Yeah. He about to
But
go
y'all
get.
two couldn't hear it. Only I could.
He about to go get some headphones.
Yeah, I think he said he's gonna get some headphones.
Yeah, even the Bluetooth to work, bro. Even the Bluetooth headphones, all that to work.
That's what I'm saying. Even when we had the headphones, he was still echoing, but only I could hear it.
Right.
I don't know if people in the chat could hear him. You know what I'm saying? Hear him echoing.
Not in the chat. They couldn't hear it because I went back and looked at it. I did the rerun.
That's what I'm saying. He might be good, but I guess he was just saying he couldn't hear us good either. So I don't know.
It's because this software is different, bro. This software is different. It's not like StreamYard, bro.
He said he heard him when he first came in like me, and now he can't hear him just like me. So yeah, I think he's doing the same thing he did last time.
What up, champ?
What's up, players?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect though, man. Let's see. You got some headphones?
Yeah, he's not as echoey as he was before. It's a little slight reverb.
John, you
We
sound
can hear
fine.
you.
John is echoing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's a slight reverb. You can hear me, day one?
Yeah.
But I'm saying you are echoing, John.
Okay, so I'm echoing to you. You echoing to me too, then?
Oh, so we're both echoing to each other?
I guess, yeah. If you hear me echo,
That's weird.
You know why though?
Put my headphones on and see if that changes.
But that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. This software, it does that so you guys don't talk over each other, so you guys can hear the people talking, and then you guys, because if you notice, this is a different software. It's not StreamYard.
What's probably happening?
Yeah, now you sound different.
Hold on.
You sound way better.
Hello?
Yeah, you sound
John,
better
am I
now.
still echoing?
Nah.
you still echoing to me though. Yeah,
You're gonna echo to him, but that's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Am I echoing to you,
what
day
that
one?
sounds like is that the output and the input is on the same line.
Yeah, but that's the only way that the chat won't hear the echo. See, Pip just said I don't hear no echo, right? They don't hear
Let's
it.
leave it like that so they don't hear nothing.
Right. Because if I change it,
am I echoing to you, day one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we hear each other the same way then.
Yeah, it's all good though. I can deal with it as long as the chat don't hear it like that.
Nah, they don't. Trust me, they don't.
Let me see if I can reverse this camera. Wait.
But when you go back on the playback, you're gonna see there's gonna be less interruptions, less over talking, because that's what that's for.
Right, I got you.
You know what I mean? Because it allows you to hear that someone's still talking or is still playing back on the playback, so you don't talk over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he just dropped out.
Oh God, he'll come back. He'll jump on right now. Yeah, man, I like the software, bro. This software is really good, bro. This software is hella good.
It's crazy. I flipped the camera and it picked me out for some reason.
Hell yeah. Let's go, Chan. Let me put you up.
Hold on.
Let me put you up.
My headphones are not working for some reason. Hold on. Hello.
I hear you. Perfect.
My headphones are tripping. When shit happens like that, it does weird shit. Let me take my headphones off because it's gonna make it sound all weird. But yeah, I moved everything in here, so everything's in here now because 8 weeks will end on 8 weeks will be on Wednesday for these for the fast buds grow right here, and then my autos back there will be day 90 on the 15th. So I'm just gonna do everything on Wednesday. I'm gonna pull up everything and I'm actually gonna hang it in here. I pulled everything in here because I'm gonna do the 48 hours of darkness.
Yeah.
And also this time I'm doing the 48 hours of darkness and then 48 hours of light right before I pull them up.
Are you gonna study it? You gonna document it to see what you see better or what?
Yep. Because I did the ice with these girls already, and I saw on this one here. I saw a big jump in trichromes.
Okay.
And in this one here, I saw a big jump in trichromes. So
all right.
And then I saw a bulkness come on all of them, get a little bit tighter with the buds.
Yeah.
And they start to get like a last ditch effort with trying to, how they try to pollinate themselves. But they did. I like it because I get results. You know what I'm saying? So
hell yeah.
You know, we got some good. They're all stuffed in here, so.
Hell yeah, bro. That shit looks chunky too. Definitely looks chunky.
Oh,
I
super
really
chunk.
can't
This is the
understand
biggest
what
the
you're saying,
24-ounce
man.
can right here.
Nah, hell yeah. That shit looks chunky as fuck, bro. God
Meaning these back here even
damn.
chunkier.
God
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
See, that puts a
All of these.
perspective to it.
Those are
Now,
photos?
this is in a 3-gallon, and this is in a 3-gallon, but the rest of them are in one gallons.
Those are
Damn.
photos or auto?
These are photos,
Uh-huh.
and then these are autos.
Damn, the
Okay,
autos
so
are
at the
looking
same
chunky
time.
too,
Remember, they
though.
were in here. Everything was in here.
Okay. Right,
Everything
right.
was in here, but I removed all of them out of here because I
Hell
want to
yeah.
clean this up.
What's that little one right there? What you got right there?
Oh, this is a house plant.
Okay, what is it? It's like a
It's
like
what is it? A very. It's not. It's. Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
gotcha, cause that looked like
It
one of
comes
them one of them expensive plants, huh?
It's like a monstera, or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I want to get one of those, man. I wanna actually
So I
start
got.
like getting me a little
My mom
garden.
does this. My mom does the house plants, and she has oh, what the fuck happened? Hold on, something happened. Hold on.
What happened?
One of my switches got cut off. So here's all the babies right here.
Oh
This
hell
which
yeah.
need to be watered. These the calf sour I just did. I put a video up of the calf sour that I put up. But this is the blue creme, in the blue cups, and then we got the blue Rastown Plutonian F2s
Damn.
in the red cups. So I'm doing like a little mini pheno hunt, and then I'm also gonna do some crossing. So damn, I can't remember what this blue creme was crossed with. Blue creme is like crossed with like 4 different flavors.
Damn. They look nice,
But
bro. They look nice and healthy. Very, very,
oh, they're
very.
super healthy. I cut off the big leaves up here to get some more light to the inside.
Yeah.
All of these. That's why they look like a palm tree a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, they're getting ready. I'm actually getting ready to transplant them all, except for these ones, into 1-gallon pots.
Okay.
I'm gonna put my hook up my mix with some Gaia Green and some rebuild the soil. So I'm doing the Gaia Green.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do build the soil 3.0 soil nutrients. So
that's the nutrients in that soil already?
No. You mix it with the soil. So this makes 80 pounds.
Okay, that's the nutrients itself in there.
Yeah. But the nutrient, everything is in there.
Okay.
But then I got Gaia Green. So
you mix it with the Gaia Green, or how's that work?
Yeah. So this time I am. This
Okay.
time I'm gonna cut it a little bit. I'm not gonna do full doses.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them to
Damn, it's a nice dog.
have too much. Oh, this is Bambi right here. Hey,
Man, look at him, yo. Oh, look at the character on him.
Grandma's in there.
Damn, what a beautiful dog. Look at him. He's happy. That's a happy dog right there. You can tell he happy. What's up, man? What's going on, champ?
My male, hold on, my male. I'll show you my male. He's back here. He's in the cage. Let me show y'all. Damn, Buffalo won. That's crazy.
Who are they playing with?
That is my male right here. He's in the cage.
Oh, damn.
Look at you like, man, how you got her out here?
Ooh. A red nose.
And that's Bambi.
A blue nose.
So,
yes,
hey, I know real soon I just got my Teflon paper and my paper for the press. So I'm gonna start pressing.
Oh, damn. I ain't never pressed nothing in my life. Oh, you talking about shirts? Hell yeah. That's what's up.
Yeah, shirts, cups, hats, plates.
Let's go, champ. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's it right there, baby.
That's it, though.
It's your own merch. You ain't got to go through the middleman.
Exactly. Now the hardest part is just getting material. So you got to get your plug for your shirts. That's the hardest part right there. You know what I mean?
Let's see.
Hey, day one.
Camera. It might kick me out. I'm gonna go back to the camera.
Hey, day one.
I think you say you about to switch mics or something.
Gotcha. Hell yeah, I'm about to plug them in right now. I'm about to give them a super plug. One of the biggest plugs that there is right now. Fucking when it comes to merch. Yeah, merch, printing, labeling.
Yeah, y'all not too far from each other. He in Arizona, you in Nevada, right?
Yeah. Day one.
Yeah, I'm here. It be kicking me out though for some reason
Yeah.
when I switch the camera.
Yeah, you got my email, man. I pinned it to the top. Hit me on the email, champ. I got a good plug for you that could do the transfers for you, bro. You know what I mean?
What to do? Like put them on the transfer paper?
Yeah, yeah. Do the transfers.
Okay.
That like that guy's really good at it, man. That's what he does. That's how I get my transfers and shit. You know, and they last too.
I'm a type of cat. I'm a type of cat that when I see something, that I like to learn how to do it for myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm like I can do that, and that's been me my whole life, and I've always got great success. Even though that you have some failures, you learn though from that to get that success. So
100%.
I will always try it myself first before I outsource it somewhere else.
Hell yeah.
Unless it's something I can't do myself. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, hell yeah.
That's where you get something done to be able to do it yourself, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The best way to do it is
man,
yourself.
Get a t-shirt plug, Get the t-shirt plugs for the material you'll be on.
That's right. No, I be tripping.
You know, making T-shirts for the kids, just having the kids model. It's a game. It's a game for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Opening up a business, having the kids work for you, write them off, so you put them on your payroll.
Hell yeah.
It's all a tax write-off and shit. You don't have to report it. And as far as income, it's just a way to make family money, stay in the family.
That's
and
right.
Have to give less to the government.
That's 100% correct, man. We're going back to the servicing the people again, man. And that's why I love right there. Because that's how we used to do it back in the day before big corporations took over everything. We used to have little small businesses and we used to serve the people, the shoemaker, the tailor, you know, all those things.
You got the homie that can draw real good.
Hell yeah.
That's got a good, that got a creative head that can articulate it, and you got somebody that can put it on paper and bring it to life. Got a couple people that got the connections. Parents maybe got a little bit of money to do this, and then y'all all form a little something and make it happen, bro.
Facts. Cause you know a lot of the jobs of electronics and stuff like that, that's just going away, bro. Because like for instance, I was online yesterday and I was looking at the AI music and shit, and I was making some beats, right? I was making some beats. I'm like, yo, I used to pay a whole guy to buy a beat back in the day. You know what I mean?
Look at that, John.
Damn.
Perfect. It's a blueberry.
Yes, sir.
Look good. How's it taste?
She tastes good. She tastes like berries. She got like that nose cleaner nose. You open up your sinus turp.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
Yes, sir.
How was it smoking an auto compared to your photos that you smoke?
No fucking different.
He said it was the same.
On bud structure, I see what you were saying with bud structure. It's a little bit more area, a little bit more switchier, but other than that,
yeah. Okay, good. That's good. Well, Triple B, his shit is on point though. You know, everything that I've heard about his autos and his films and just regulars are all top notch.
Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can create some light over here.
Yeah, man. I learned on those presses, the best temperature is 333 for 33 seconds, man. That's what I learned.
Yeah, they got I've been watching some videos of a cat who teaches you how to change your printer into a high definition transfer printer.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you why I didn't go with that route, A1 now, because they do have they got some high quality printers, bro. They do it all for you, because it's the sticky part. Getting the sticky shit onto the transfer paper is the hard part. Printing it is okay. It's how well you can get the
Well, okay, so the transfer paper that I got,
yeah,
you can put it in like a Cricut. Like I have a Cricut too as well.
Okay.
Also, you can print it in a regular printer. So if you got a good printer, you can print high definition on the transfer paper right away. Then you just put it on the shirt and you press it down, and the shirt is your.
Gotcha. So you already got paper with the gum on the back already.
Yeah.
I see. I got you, champ, because yeah, man, that's the hard part right there. Putting the gum on the back, like, you gotta fucking like shake it through, and then like it's a fucking hazardous too.
You gotta put like salt shit on it and
the ventilation. The ventilation.
I know what you're talking about. I will get there. I will get to that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But right now, skipping that one step of putting it on the transfer paper because the transfer paper already is printable.
The only thing I don't like, bro, is the hats, bro. The hats, they don't look good, bro. You know, the hats.
You know what you gotta get the hats?
Huh?
You know what you gotta get? You
What?
gotta get the embroidered iron-ons.
Okay.
So instead of like using like the transfer paper, you
Yeah.
can get like a patch that you can iron on that has the sticky stuff on it.
Right.
That way it looks authentic. You know what I'm saying?
I
It doesn't
get you.
look like
I
it's
follow.
fillable.
Yeah, fillable. Yeah, you can feel it. Yeah. Cause I had got some hats from they had gave me some hats at Pesos here at the dispensary. My homie threw a party and he had gave everybody hats and everything sponsored by Pesos and shit. It's a cultivation facility out here. And bro, their hats were like trash, bro. You know what I mean? Bro, even the shirts, like I washed them one time, bro, and they fucking started coming off. I was like, hell nah. But see, you can feel it though.
Like farm shirt. Another reason why I'm doing this.
Bro, what up, bro?
Farm shirt, and I washed it one time, and the inseam of the shirt ripped.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, shit. I could have bought me a few shirts for $30.
For real.
And did it myself for that.
I like the NLEs, bro. Next levels.
Yeah.
That's what I rock with. I rock with anything I put on a shirt is gonna be an NLE shirt. That's how I make my shirts. Gotta be the NLEs, bro, because they last long. They're comfortable. Like I could sleep with my shirts. You know, I have to have a shirt.
Yeah.
You know, I feel everything, bro. I'll take off my shirt and take off a piece of hair in the back because I feel it. You know. I feel everything, bro. Those NLEs, those are great shirts to print on, man, too. You know, they're very flexible and everything. But they do have different styles. Like they have the 50-50. They have I like the 60-40, I believe. 60-40. 60% cotton, 40% poly. But or I actually think I got the 100% cotton this last time. I meant to get the 60-40, but I got the whole 100%. That's what I mean. You gotta be careful.
If that's Tahoe OG you talking about, if it's anything like this Sky Warden that's a cross between Tahoe OG and Alien Kush, I get you. I see why you would re-veg that one.
Yeah, Piff love Tahoe. He got a good Tahoe right now. He been growing that for a minute.
Yeah, that Sky Warden I'm growing a cross between Tahoe OG and Alien Kush. So.
Oh shit, yeah, man, that Tahoe.
Frosty as hell, dank as hell.
I remember the Tahoe OG, the Tahoe OG from Cali Connections. That was the one I had back in the day.
Alright, I'm trying to find what this blue cream is crossed with. So I'm trying to find where
It's got some Northern Quirk from Scotty.
Bay Area Seeds.
I need to ask him what that's crossed with. I never heard. I know it's probably Northern Light crossed with Quirk. I never heard of the Quirk.
It's crossed with a few different ones.
Hell yeah, you got a nice garden over there, though, A1.
I appreciate it. Hey, I'm really waiting on and really excited about this Cab Sour and this Blue Trim, this Plutonium times Blue Raz F2s.
Okay.
So really,
Who bred those? You bred those?
I got them in a.
I'll show these Sky Wardens. I'll show these Sky Wardens right quick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look.
How you did that though, A1? I don't really know how to work this one. How you flip the screen?
You got to hit the little symbol, the little settings button, and then it'll give you a chance to pull up your cameras. Then it might kick you out. You have to get back in.
I see mute and I see hang up.
You don't see the little setting sign right there?
No.
Like I see a square with has an arrow that's pointing up and an arrow pointing down to switch the screens. And then there's a setting symbol.
I got light and dark. I can switch my background from light to dark. I got hang up and I got mute.
Yeah, I see light and dark, and then to the left I see 702 symbol, and then right above that there's a screen with me, and then right above that there's a screen with all three of us.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't see that at all. Okay, I had to switch my screen down. I'm still seeing similar shit though. Okay, I do see a setting shit though. Headset, earpiece, or speakerphone. Okay, see, I didn't even know I had settings where I could set my shit to headset, earpiece, or speakerphone.
Yep.
But I guess it's on default right now. So
That's why I was telling you
this.
this shit gives you a lot more options, bro, to be able to get your audios. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's the audio's issues in the settings that we be having issues with because it's got so many fucking settings. You know?
Yeah.
It does. Like I be hitting buttons, bro, and it does hella shit. But this app this software allows you to have like a production. Like you can have your audios coming and going different ways. Like in case you have a bunch of shit hooked up, where you can't do that with Streamlab too much. Here, let me bring you up. God damn. God
damn, son, where'd you find this?
Hey.
That's better?
Yeah, 100%. Way better. That's nice right there.
The Sky Warren is the tall pheno. We got like a tall pheno out of her, a short pheno, like a medium height pheno.
You didn't cover up the growing old sticker with the canopy, champ. I remember it was showing like about a week ago.
Yeah. You could be able to see all of that. Now everything covered.
For
real. This was I thought this was an Oreo, but I don't know if it is. It might still be. I just never seen this phenotype in it.
Yeah.
It smell like grape juice and pineapple right now. It shit smells good as hell.
Damn.
It got pollinated by the Sky Warden though, so it's producing a lot of seeds.
Hell yeah.
But before it got pollinated, it wasn't showing no intersex traits, so that's probably why since it got pollinated, it's kind of hitting it a little bit heavier than usual.
Right.
But the seeds that come from that shit gonna be fire, man. Cause shit, you know that Sky Warden produces all the frost. So.
That's a big ass plant, bro. Oh, that's nice right there. That's got a lot of trichomes on it, bro.
Yeah.
Nice, chunky. That's a Skywalker, huh?
That's a Sky Warden.
Sky Warden, does it have Skywalker in it?
Nah, it has Tahoe OG. It's crossed with Tahoe OG and Alien Kush.
Gotcha. It almost looks like it's got a Skywalker structure to it, bro.
Yeah, that shit is dank as fuck, hazy. Got that hashy smell because it's so trichomy.
Yeah, that's nice right there. That's the one right there, champ. That shit looks fucking gassy.
When I first grew her out, man, she only grew like maybe a foot and a half, but she was stacked with buds, super frosty. I got like an ounce and 20 grams off her the first time. I'm like, fuck it, I gotta grow it back. I got some seeds out of it. I just popped all those seeds.
Right.
Nah, I got the different phenotypes out. I didn't even know she can get this tall.
Hell yeah. Let's go, champ. Yes, sir. They say what nutrients you using?
Oh, well, I use a lot of different nutrients interchangeably. What you mean, for flower or veg or the whole grow?
What do you mean the next girl? Shout out to you for stopping by, champ.
I guess I'll say the whole grow. I mean, in veg, they got some Miracle Grow. They got some Alaska More Bloom fish fertilizer. Not the More Bloom, but the veg. They got Epsom salt. They got fermented cooked white rice wash. They got top dressed with cooked white rice. Then in flour, they got Kronk nutrients. They got Alaska More Bloom, the Bloom fertilizer. And they got some molasses, Epsom salt. That's it pretty much.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's quite a bit of a recipe right there, champ.
Snap on me. Well, looking like it want to snap on me, but it ain't broke off, so it'll heal up.
Yep, he was talking about base nutrients. Yeah, so I think he's talking about the Alaska.
Base nutrients as far as what?
So, like, in instance, my base nutrients would be this. I'm gonna show you. This would be my base nutrients right here. Let me go up. So my base nutrients would be Pure Blend Pro, Botanicare, right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Botanicare. They gave me a nice little Stanley Cup. Salute
Yeah,
to them.
yeah. My crop nutrients is the base nutrient, but I still use other nutrients and supplements.
Gotcha.
On top of that, organic and inorganic.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
But yeah, the basis crop nutrients, you know, the grow, the micro, the bloom.
Hell yeah. A1, what base
And I
what base
also mix
nutrients
that
you
up
use?
with Miracle Grow.
What base nutrients you use, A1?
My base is Gaia Green.
Gaia Green. Gaia Green.
So I got 444 for veg, and then Gaia Green 284 for flour, and then I got worm castings, and then I use bone meal.
Yeah.
And then I also beastie blooms too. And then I also I haven't had it this last run, but I did the run before volcanic rock or the glacier rock dust.
Damn. I like that one, champ. That's my favorite right
I
there.
realized that bone meal was too much with the autos.
That's the Sky?
444 because it has both of it at both already. So you got to be really
The seeds I get from this shit gonna be fire though. They gonna have that Skyward and Frost and OG gas with the fruitness coming off this one, man.
Right. Hell yeah. I see it.
It's bright. Leon green, orange yellow, white Arizona. She smell the best. That's the terpiest plant in here. She also the hungriest plant in here. You can see by her height.
Hell yeah.
This one main cola right here. I didn't top this. I left the main cola and topped all the other branches 5 times before flowering.
Damn, that's something you don't really hear of right there. That you leave the main.
That's why she's so bushy.
For real, you don't hear that. You don't hear that. I've never heard that right there. I usually hear them just either top in the main, you know.
Yes, I used to do. This is my first time doing like 5 tops before flower. I usually just do like a main top and a LST.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried something different this grow. Got me a lot of extra branches.
Right.
If she wouldn't have got pollinated, man, she would have been a beast. She's still gonna be a beast. There's more work to pick out the damn seeds, but seeds gonna be fire.
Simpro. Let's see. He says we need to try Simpro. I'm about to see what Simpro is real quick. I'm gonna pull up another tab.
And only these 3. These
Simpro News.
These 3 are in 5 gallons. This one's in a 5 gallon. This one right here, that's I got propped up, and this black one is like a 4 gallon, maybe 3.5.
Ooh.
Everything else is in 1.75 gallon pots.
Very nice.
Yeah, man. She at like midweek 7 of flower. It'll probably be done by like end of the month or early next month.
Very nice, champ. I like that. That's a big structure for plants right there. They're very nice. Damn,
Yeah,
even that
man.
one over the light. And he's got his own light. That's hella clean. Yes, sir.
I usually get a plant that's stretched taller than every other plant in
Yeah.
every grow, so that's usually where she go in the corner.
Hell yeah.
And I got the
I like
300
that.
watt. 300 watt on everybody else. That's why I keep that one so close. It's only 100 watt.
Right.
This one's a 300 watt, so space it out more. And then I got another 100 watt over here. But if I wanted to, I could lower, but I'm gonna just keep it.
Nah, that's good. The canopy's good. You want to keep them
frosted up.
Yeah, you want to keep them all even like that, champ. You know what I mean? Want to keep them all even like that. That's nice,
Yes,
bro.
sir.
Looking beautiful.
Appreciate you.
Hey, one, what you smoking on, champ?
This is a little bit of the Kim Dog.
Kim Dog. Ooh, the Kimmy Kim.
Kim Dog, man. I ain't had no Kim Dog in years, man. Decades,
Real.
really.
Especially in Florida, huh?
Yeah, man.
I really rock with the Kim
But
Dog.
like I said, I got the Kim Dog outdoors at my mom's, and that shit looks so much better than this.
Yeah.
That Kim Dog is beautiful. I think it's really true that autos grow best outdoors, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. They express
Hold it down. Let me
better
grab some weed.
outdoors. I would say they probably express fuller outdoors.
Yeah, but I've been looking up those blue crims and those Plutonian F2s, man, and I finally found them. And I found pictures of the dude who was doing the pheno hunting of them, and he was like, there was some that were like had this raspberry pheno to it, this raspberry smell, and then there was some that was really gassy, and then some not that gassy, but just big yielders. So I'm hoping that I get some of them phenos that he was talking about, because I would love to keep some of the seeds around. So I'm finna cross. I'm gonna come up with my own cuts. Between mixing the calf sour with these, and I'm gonna come up with something fresh. Watch.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think that every time we come up with something is just like our stamp on it, our staple, our way of saying this is what we like right here, and this is what we're, almost like the same way we're making clothes, right? When you make clothes, even designer people like Dior, Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, whoever they don't make the clothes, bro. They don't make the clothes. They go outsource it. They source the best materials, and then they put the trinkets on it, the slashes, the cuts, whatever they do, finalizing the product, right? And then they do their stamps, their due diligence to say, this is my product right here. This is what I'm putting out, and people fucking love it. You know what I mean? And that's the whole name of the game right there. Fucking we didn't create nothing. We all got it from someone and made something out of something. No one created nothing. Everything's been here since the beginning of time. Motherfuckers just went to go find it. And when you found it, just like we did right now, right? We're sourcing, we're looking, we're growing like this Area 51 and shit. You know how much hard work went into to source and getting? Huh?
Hey, those are not even our thoughts and our ideas. They all floating out there already.
Yeah.
And we just align to it and attract those thoughts to us. So
yeah,
go a little deeper. Hey, I know what you be on 702. You know what I'm saying? I know what John be. So we can take it there, bro, if we really want to. But that's the type of shit that I really believe. Like, all these ideas, all these thoughts are already floating out there.
Hell
you know
yeah.
what I'm saying? We just attracting those ideas and those thoughts.
And you know what that's called, bro? It's called an ether. You know what I mean? It's a real name to that shit. That thought, it's an ether out there. Think about it like this. If you wanted to put it to analogies and to say, okay, explain it to me. All right, so they make every single movie in this whole entire world so we can get it explained a little bit better because it's hard to put it in words. So they make a whole fucking hour movie about shit. But I'm gonna tell you a movie that perfectly explains the ether, the thoughts of ether, right? You know, and everybody's gonna laugh when I say this. Finding Nemo. Everybody's seen Finding Nemo, right? All right, remember the turtles and shit when they ride that fucking underwater wave, right?
Yep.
Think about that being a ether of thoughts that is in that motherfucking 100%. But it's not out. It's not in the water, bro. It's outside right now.
Right.
That motherfucker. It's
right around us.
exactly
It's everywhere around us.
right. Like us, when we get on the freeway, that motherfucker's not right up above us, but it's out there. It's a whole freeway you hop on and you get on, and there's hella cars. The same way, bro. The ether is out there, bro. And the stronger you put your mind to shit, you send those motherfuckers out to the ether and phew, they go. Right, your thoughts get to working. It's like a fucking little guy just going out there doing his due diligence in life.
Thoughts are energy. They're literally energy waves shooting out of your head.
I swear to God.
Into the atmosphere, and they're vibrations, and they attract what they vibrate to.
Fuck yeah.
You know, they attract that vibration to you. You know what I mean? It's like you have your thoughts have like a little string attached to it when it goes out. You know what I'm saying?
Not only do they have little strings attached to them motherfuckers, like I don't think that people realize that they keep working, bro. So like say you forever, bro. So like you'll drive by and shit, and if you could see all your ideas and thoughts working, like if they were just to stick out like a fucking pinpoint, right? You would see hella shit going on in the city everywhere, bro, because of your thoughts. And that's everybody. That's not just you, bro. That's how the whole city gets put together. It's in their fucking heads first, and then it goes.
What you see out here in the Matrix is a product of your thoughts, your beliefs.
Facts.
How you feel, what you're taught, your ancestors, past.
All that.
All that stuff is right here. You know what I'm saying? All right here. And I lost my train of thought of what I was.
Nah, but you know what? It's cool, A1, when you can talk about it, right? But it's cool when you can talk about it, and it's cool when you can actually do it. Cause I know you could do it, and I know people are listening like, oh yeah, I know about that, right? But do they understand that they can actually do it? Do they try it? Do they test it? You know what I mean?
Trying to say, reality is based on your thoughts, your emotions, what you believe, how you feel. It's a projection of all of that within being seen and being shot out.
Yeah.
That's what your reality.
Right, because I'm living proof, bro. I could put anything I could do. I can do anything if I put my mind to it. Like, it's just because I don't want to fucking do whatever I haven't done yet what I didn't want to do.
In order for things to manifest, bro, you have to not just believe. Because believe means there's a sliver of doubt.
Yeah.
You have to know. You have to know. And once you know, there's nothing else that can tell you any different. And it's not like you know how it's gonna happen. You just know it's going to happen.
I'm gonna give you an example, champ. I used to always put my goals, right? I used to always set goals for myself.
What up?
And I'd be like, look, let me set this goal for myself. And then I'll reach that goal, bro. And then I'll set another goal. And then I'll reach that goal. And then my wife, you know what my wife told me? She's like, you know what you got to fucking stop doing? And I'm like, what? She's like, you're setting these little fucking goals. Why don't you set a big fucking goal? You know? So I started setting bigger goals, bro. And those goals started getting achieved and shit. And then I'm like, it trips me out, bro, that anything that you really fucking put your mind to.
Know what you're doing.
It's repetitive. It's getting better and better and better every time, bro. You know what I mean?
You're training yourself.
Yeah.
To fast instantly.
And faster too. Faster.
Pretty soon it's gonna be faster.
That's what I'm talking about. And yes.
No. Because you know you're gonna achieve it.
Yeah.
You know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, this shit's happening faster and faster and faster. Tripping out, bro, and that's why that's why I like talking about it, bro. And all that shit has everything to do with everything, and that's why, bro. Every time a little being comes down and talks to us and looks at us, the first thing that they say is, "I feel so sorry for your race because you guys don't even know what you're capable of yourselves." And they all say the same shit, bro. They're like, "I just feel so sorry because you guys don't know the capability of your own self."
It's what you are.
Exactly.
You gotta
Yeah.
remember that. It's not who you are, is what you are.
Yeah, finding yourself is everything, bro. I feel I think a lot of people don't understand that they're in charge of themselves and they can actually do things. Like I don't understand. There's some people who don't even know that they can control their own thoughts. That the shit that comes to your head is controllable, bro. You know?
Right. Like like our energy fields, like, you know, just like right now, how we're talking right now,
Yeah.
we're on the same frequency. You know what I'm saying? So right now, if somebody was to measure like the frequency level that our brains are at, we'll be pretty close on the same similar, meaning that we're on that same frequency line between where we're at. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You know what I mean? And that's similar to how those thoughts are. You know what I mean? It's attached to. So I'm just saying, it's deep out there, bro, and we're capable of doing so much that people don't even realize that they have the ability to do so many things themselves. They don't have to look anywhere else but within themselves.
Hell yeah. Visible Farm, salute, champ.
Oh, man.
Rampage Garden,
My
salute
lives, bro.
in the building.
My lives be going crazy, bro.
Hey, but
Hell
fellas,
yeah.
I'm about to jump off. I'm about to go get some food cooked real quick.
Yes, sir.
I'll put on live a little bit because I'm gonna be doing some up potting with all of these babies. So if y'all catch me on live, jump on with me. Until then, 702.
Yes,
Much
sir.
love.
Yes, sir. Salute, champ.
Bro.
Everybody go
See y'all.
subscribe to the homie Day One. He's got his own channel with his own audience. He goes live on his own, man. Y'all go check him out. Real one.
Make sure y'all come tap in with me. Nothing but love, fellas.
Yes, sir.
All
Salute,
right,
big dog. Got you. Yeah, buddy. Let's put this Jesse Michaels back on, man. But hey, I see that that nutrient company that he's talking about is Simply Professional Formula, and it's a nice little it looks easy, and it's like a bag. All in one. It's cactus formulas, all type of things. I'm gonna screen share it for just a quick second, hella quick. Bam! There you go. That's it.
Silence, what's up, sweetheart?
That's how you say it, huh? Silence? I thought it was silence. Okay, cool. Salute.
You said silence? I
Yeah.
said silence. I never heard her pronounce it. That's how I said it.
Salute, salute, salute.
Zalens or Zelenze? How we say it? Which way is the way you say it right? Zalens or Zelenze?
Yep, buddy.
You know, so I ain't fucking it up.
Contract, I believe, with the Army, she gets security clearance, and then nobody ever really hears from her again. She gets hit by a car. It's sort of really weird. But she was seen last publicly speaking at this MITRE Corporation conference about anti-gravity.
Yeah, I'll admit it. And I did sit down and I interviewed her. And this was at a conference in 2003, just outside of Washington, D.C., run by overseen by the MITRE Corporation. And it was looking at high-frequency gravitational waves. And, you know, she was an interesting character because...
Yeah, Piff Man be cooking like a mug, bro. He be cooking hella fire.
I see that.
Yeah, bro, he always cooking, bro.
Superconductors and weight loss experiments. And she chaired one of the sessions. I talked to her afterwards about it all. She had this view that this was science and technology.
That's good though, man. You gotta do it. You gotta learn yourself. Do it yourself.
Philanthropic in its, you know, nature and outcomes. And then
whatever connects you to the plant.
I don't know sort of how soon after that it was that she sort of went off grid. Certainly, probably about within a year that she just disappeared, and no one knew what had happened to her.
That's like just recently there was a slide deck, not really leaked, but kind of rediscovered about Eric Davis doing a teleportation study for the MITRE Corporation. Dated back to
Teleportation. Now we on teleportation,
And
bro.
so because you have people online like Ashton Forbes who like talk a
Wasn't
lot about
Tesla? I think Tesla was doing that shit back in the fucking 50s, man.
The teleportation. Hey, you really think that Donald Trump shit is real? That you know what I mean? How like because if you when Tesla died, all of his findings were in the Trump hotel, bro.
Yeah, that's his great. His great, like like the great Trump.
Great Trump. Yeah, bro. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they got all this shit. Him, they split all this shit up. Him, who else? The fucking Graham Bell company, all them companies back then. They took all this shit. He was doing all kind of fucking secret projects for the government and shit too. With the forget what that shit is called. Where it was like on a ship and they like made the ship invisible or some shit.
Oh,
like the first
damn.
time they tried cloaking type shit.
That's what we was just talking
The
about.
ship
Yeah.
didn't go. The ship didn't go invisible though. It like went to another dimension and it melded fucking people into the fucking ship. Like, but they were still alive as a part of the ship. It was weird as fuck.
Damn.
The way
What
they
the
explained
fuck?
it.
There's so many stories out there, bro.
I
That
think it's called a Montauk Project, man. I think that's what it's called.
what the
Don't quote me, but
fuck?
I think
They said they
it's
tried
a
to make it
Montauk Project.
invisible, made it go to a different dimension, bro. That's wild.
Yeah, man. And the people they couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Your human body couldn't sustain all that type of
So
shit.
what happened to the
They
people?
fucking melted into the ship. But they were still alive, so they was like metallic, but in the ship, you know what I'm saying? Like as a part of the fucking ship.
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, man.
I ain't heard no
crazy,
shit like that, bro.
That shit was crazy, bro.
Damn, John Doe, you blowing my goddamn mind right now.
I think it's called a Montauk Project, man. I used to watch documentaries on all that shit, bro.
Damn. That's wild, bro. That's wild.
Like he's really sure that
somebody
like
else,
you could
yeah.
teleport like
That's
a
the Bermuda
macro
Triangle
scale.
shit? Yeah.
The which one?
He said the Bermuda Triangle shit. That's a different one he talking about. I know what he talking about though, the Bermuda Triangle one.
Oh yeah, the Bermuda Triangle. Yeah, that's shit that swallows airplanes and shit.
Yeah,
It
that's
makes
different from the Montauk Project that what's the name was Tesla was working for. He was actually creating a anti-cloaking or whatever type device, but it wasn't like how they doing today. It was more on some, like he said, you know what I'm saying, matter of gravity type shit he was working with.
That's crazy.
Human being or something. When I've spoken to Eric Davis, he seems to be, you know, like talking about like quantum teleportation, saying like that's already established science, and you know that sounds insane because the word teleportation is in it, but like, is that necessarily involved in like UFO tech, or is it even,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So much of the science and physics is so far beyond me.
Me too.
As boring as it sounds, I like the money. I like.
What happened?
Says Zalenzi said any way you pronounce it is good with her, man. So we good.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. Salute.
The program names, I like the offices, because while we're speaking about kind of these administrators, NRO, CIA, DS&T, and kind of their string pullers, and the DD&I, AT&F, and Alstat are now OUSD, ANS. You talked about Kona Blue, which was the failed prospective special access program that occurred in 2010, and we can actually thank Arrow for releasing that slide deck. Weirdly enough, this was to be a DHS-sponsored USAP, Unacknowledged Special Access Program, for Lockheed Martin to divulge some craft materials to the OSAP program and Bigelow Advanced Aerospace Space Studies, BASS. And these materials were supposed to be...
To become a Lockheed Martin skunk work.
Yeah, man. They got grandfathered into some. They were propulsion company, man, since day one, figuring out how to reverse engineer them things.
Yep. We dealt with propulsion, jet propulsion.
Isn't that what Bob Lazar worked with Lockheed?
Yeah, Lockheed. But then they started getting them some Nazi scientists.
Yeah.
Warner Braun and the other motherfuckers. And that's when they started getting the rocket technology and shit.
Yeah.
The bits and pieces of craft hull, craft bulkhead. I myself have heard this involved the Kingman wreckage from the 1953 Kingman, Arizona crash, and that Lockheed Martin Vice President James Ryder was the one who wanted to get rid of the materials for who knows. And conventionally, Glenn Gaffney, CIA DS&T Deputy Director, was the one who put the kibosh and killed this. Our mutual friend Rob Jones has done some amazing work. He also offers in the name Robert Cardillo, who is actually DD&I and head of the NGA, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. And while I think Robert...
He ain't just dropping names, they showing pictures and everything.
For real, bro. I've never heard so many names. So many names get dropped like on this fucking documentary right here. they dropped everybody's name on this. This is like the ultimate.
Like everybody they talk about, they showing a picture, they showing like the fucking corporate picture, the government picture.
Everything, bro. This is like the it's because this guy's got like the ultimate index on everything and everybody. You know what I mean? This is the guy right here that has everything documented in fucking the Norma G of everything. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
This guy knows every goddamn thing, everything. And where?
I think this was a DS&T operation, specifically get Glenn Gaffney to
who the fuck does he work for?
In my Lockheed project,
has he said that?
I kind of came across that there may have been a conflict of interest within Lockheed Martin, maybe an insider in Lockheed who helped put the kibosh on the program. This is an individual, and I'll pass you this in a second, named Mary K. Sturtevant. This is a name that it was never really floated around. I made a tweet about this, begging Chris Mellon to give some information on her, to which he has declined in both a public outreach on Twitter and private messages. I have not heard from him.
What did he say?
No, just nothing.
Oh, nothing. Okay, no response.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So Sturtevant here has a really weird history. She worked at the BDM Corporation. In 1985, she joined the agency. When I say agency, I mean CIA, for counterintelligence, tech protection, all that stuff. She kind of went. She worked in.
Salute Brian from Scotland. Salute. Hit that like button for us, champ.
CIA Directorate of Operations and CIA Directorate of Science and Technology Programs. She was a very high-level deputy director position in the NRO. And then she also served on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, where she and Chris Mellon actually worked together for numerous years. Not only did they work together, but they attended many of the same meetings. Not only did they attend many of the same meetings, but over certain periods and quarters, they have the exact same per diem. Which implies that they traveled together,
spot.
they ate together, they attended the same meetings together on the same cars, the same craft. So I would wager these two have a very, they know each other quite well. She was also served as a special advisor to the president under George W. Bush. And in 2006, she joined Lockheed Martin as the vice president for government affairs from 2006 to 2021, as well as VP for intelligence, joint and science and technology programs. So I think there may have been a conflict of interest here within Lockheed Martin. Once you're agency for life, right? If you're in the CIA, you're never out of the CIA, especially the Directorate of Science and Technology. So I think there's a very strong argument that can be made that due to her obligations and allegiance to the CIA DS&T, she had to help put the kibosh on this technology transfer. And also,
but you think of, if she knew Mellon, I mean, you think of Mellon also as very pro, kind of UFO stuff, at least now.
What I would say to Christopher Mellon, if he's watching this, because I've asked him numerous times, ask her again, Mr. Mellon, because I'm sure this time she'll remember.
Okay.
I'm sure this time she'll remember.
Yeah.
Here is Mary Sturtevant.
Ali putting her on blast.
It's so interesting. I mean, you often do see people kind of playing both sides of the issue as well.
Yeah.
Like, you hear about, Mike Turner, who put the kibosh on, this last, or UAPDA, not this last one, but the one before it.
Right,
Mike,
fiscal year 2024, I believe.
He must not care.
Huh?
A lot of people, I said, I don't know who he is, but he must not care. There's a lot of people, when they're talking about this, they're definitely not showing names or photos. And, you know what I'm saying? They're a lot more precautious and shit. He's putting everybody out there.
Everything and everybody. Yeah, this is
you get all kind of death threats.
Man, imagine that, bro. I think this guy's going for gusto, bro. This is
it's funny till start seeing the men in black, them black trucks monitor your fucking house.
Nah, hell yeah, because I'm telling you, man, that's who he's gonna see next, bro. That's what we're gonna see them next for real, because he putting a picture, documents, he putting everything out there, man. Every goddamn thing out there. But it's fun to watch, though. That's for sure. That's for goddamn sure.
That's right. And you hear that, like,
right?
People, the largest donors to his campaign are like, Raytheon, Lockheed, Boeing, whatever. But then simultaneously, you have Lockheed clearly trying to get a bunch of information.
Wait, that was the first time I heard Boeing in the conversation. But okay.
Out through efforts like, they spent a lot of time with Tom DeLonge and TTSA and that sort of thing, secret machines. And so it seems like they do want some disclosure to occur, obviously, when it comes to eminent domain clauses in the UAPDA that involve taking their material and...
We got Big MG in the building. Salute, big dog.
Making it kind of, congressional civilian oversight. They're obviously not going to be happy about that. But it is interesting how they're trying to sort of manage the process.
Yeah, it seems like there's numerous factions competing for disclosure. One of the most obvious factions is TTSA, which involves the whole OSAP crew, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff.
Oh, so you ever wonder why these disclosures are getting put out? They're getting put out by... That makes sense, champ. That makes all the world of the sense. Because if you're a company, right, just like me, I'm putting out this strain or whatever. I want the world to know it, right? So I'm gonna tell you intel, things that people don't know, and blah blah blah, etc., etc. That's all they're doing, bro. They're telling us things that people don't know. They're telling us things that, and that way, Lockheed Martin, when the shit really gets out and open, they're gonna be like, well, we're the ones who invented everything because we're the ones who told you first. But everybody knows, though. You know what I mean? Everyone knows this shit already. So that's crazy. That's crazy.
Lou Elizondo.
What I'm saying, everybody knows. No, not everybody really. Yes, I know you got me, but just to clarify that, they know in between themselves the truth. You know what I mean? But who's gonna be the first to actually come out and say it? That's what they're fighting. They're fighting for who's gonna be the actual disclosure. So all these Louis Elizondos and everybody is really by funded. That's why I always say, who the fuck is funding this shit? Who's really?
Them niggas was ex-government too, though.
100%. 100%. Oh yeah, 1000%. Because these are guys who actually really worked on it, but now they're able to capitalize on it, and now we know their names.
Chris Mellon and all these guys, their carefully managed disclosure seems to be about the revelations of the existence of non-human intelligence and technical vehicles, and that there's programs to recover these, but no discussion of derivation of technologies, possibly for national security concerns or whatever they want to say. And they really like to pose the whole NHI or super national security threat narrative. The whole TTSA saga is very weird. It seems like in 2011, Tom DeLonge was plucked. This could have been an old BASS, Bigelow Advanced Aerospace Space Studies project. They had some of their documents under OSAP kind of not leaked, but discovered. And there was discussion of a project forum within those, which was to basically, in California, take, celebrities, media personalities, popular people to start talking about the UFO subject. And I think...
Right here. Where my fucking check at? Where's my check? I want my goddamn money. I missed the fucking memo.
You doing it for free, huh?
I'm doing it for the free skis over here, y'all. What the fuck?
I think that likely Tom DeLonge and TTSA was a holdover project forum spearheaded by Lou Elizondo under direction of something like the National Security Council to bring forth limited disclosures. TTSA is wacky when you look at it. Tom DeLonge had numerous high-level advisors, whether it was somebody like Lou Elizondo, a whole history in counterintelligence, guys like Steve Justice from Lockheed Martin, high-level Air Force generals. And these guys were saying, hey, all of these technologies are locked up in black budgets, but we don't really know how to do it, but we're gonna try and make our own, like light craft. We're gonna try and make our own ARVs and all that. So it just seems almost like a bastardization of what legacy programs had doing, like like all these guys, Steve Justice, who had worked in programs, had been exposed to them, had amnesia, and they had to kind of start all over again in the public sector.
There were clearly guys involved in that who had ulterior motives, and then I think some people don't give Tom DeLonge enough credit for modern disclosure.
Oh my goodness,
because so many people just wouldn't even be into the subject, I think, if it weren't for a lot of what he got out. And I do think he, on his own, organically made a ton of connections, poked the bear a lot to the effect of a lot of these guys coming out to him. And he kind of, I think, put a lot of this stuff together. And so, maybe there are, ulterior motives with some of the people involved.
But not Tom.
I don't think Tom had ulterior motives. I think he had very genuine,
He was a trailblazer.
Yeah, I think so.
Stuff.
Yeah.
I also think a strong argument can be made. He was exposed to some pretty radical stuff, whether this was authorized or unauthorized disclosures. if you look at his appearance on Joe Rogan back in 2017, October of 2017, this was like the radical time that he came out and talked about TTSA. There's something that really caught my eye there, and I think a strong argument can be made. Tom DeLonge was exposed to elements of Immaculate Constellation.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
We know
Really?
Immaculate Constellation as the USAT Matthew Brown was exposed to. That began in 2017 that utilized U.S. Intelligence platforms, overhead platforms, implying NRO with spy satellites and overhead collection platforms, probably NGA, and numerous various intelligence gathering systems to monitor both non-human craft and alien reproduction vehicles. There are plenty of interesting cases, including slowly rotating triangles over Indo-PACOM, Indo-Pacific Command within Matthew Brown's Immaculate Constellation document. Saucer-shaped craft seemingly using cloud coverage as cover and all that. So, but the connection I'm trying to make and why I think a strong argument Tom DeLonge was exposed to Immaculate Constellation in 2017, the year IMCON began, is if you listen closely to that Joe Rogan interview,
right?
Tom DeLonge talks about episodic visits
Ooh.
of craft. He says that his high-level sources, in the NRO specifically, told him that scientists and eggheads had figured out ways to basically pre-predict when and where craft would appear.
Right.
And thus, satellites and imagery intelligence platforms would capture these quote-unquote episodic
For sure,
visits.
and that's why they really don't
His
like
connections
coming
to the
over here
NRO.
because they shoot them down.
Whilst he was at TTSA,
to get more
Luis
fucking
Elizondo was liaison to the NRO.
more motherfucking
He was
technology and
liaison to
shit.
the NRO.
Whoa, I don't think a lot of people know that.
No, that's not public knowledge. But yeah, he was liaison to the NRO.
How'd you figure that out?
Not for
This shit is true. We were at war with some of them.
well, because yeah, bro, like these things, bro, are coming from different dimensions, different fucking worlds and shit, right? So it's like there's so many motherfuckers that come, bro, that ain't never been here before. So it's like they're always monitoring shit. Like we have the capabilities to be able to know if someone's tapping into our fucking whatever it is, you know what I mean? Dimension, Earth, whatever you want to call it and shit. They got the capabilities if anybody's tapping in and shoot the motherfuckers down too. So that's why they don't really.
Right. I mean, it's all frequencies, man. So you can get the technology to tune into this frequency.
Yeah, because look,
Yeah.
the way it's exactly the frequencies that John Doe's talking about is that's why they get those mind controllers, bro. Like because these crafts and shit, them motherfuckers don't fly like just you touching buttons and shit. Nah, they fly these motherfuckers with their minds, bro. So that's how they hijacking these things. They got a motherfucker like secluded in a motherfucking in a Air Force base, you know, in a room, and they're just like thinking about hijacking this craft, and they hijack the crafts and shit, and they can control them, make them go wherever they want, bring them over here, crash like that last one that just crashed in Area 51 right there. They probably made that motherfucker land over there. Like that motherfucker probably came in here. Yeah, bro, it just happened not so long ago, like last month, a big ass crash over there in Area 51, and it got recorded by the locals and shit. But then they went over there and retrieved it hella quick. But that's what I'm saying. Like, how don't we know that they hijacked that shit? You know what I mean? Made that shit because that's the thing. When they sit in them things, they control that shit with their mind. So now they got capabilities of motherfuckers to make them land, bro, wherever they want. Taking over them motherfuckers. They take over them, so that's why they scared.
CV.
Okay.
CV.
Okay.
Liaison to the NRO. And if you look at the Immaculate Constellation documents, numerous sightings talk about how the sensor collection platform seemingly had.
Yeah, there's so many different ones. Like we working with some, we warring with some.
Yeah.
There's some on the outside that probably look at us as food and some.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
So it's not just one. You know what I'm saying?
There's not just one, but they all it seems like to be this.
All have different motives and shit.
Right. Even the ones that are here, bro, or live here, if you notice, bro, it's all, they follow the same galactic federation laws, bro, because even the ones that live here or any anytime you ever hear about them, they talk about us that we murder each other more than anybody because like even them, like they take over planets and shit, but like there be other races and shit that'll go to war so they don't do that, you know? So like my point is that there ain't that many bad ones out there, but we do stumble across the motherfuckers sometimes trying to do some crazy shit. You know, that's what.
And I think, our perception of bad and their perception of bad is two different
Exactly.
perceptions.
Exactly my point. Exactly.
They might think it's, they might get the light out of dissecting us and abducting us and shit like that. So.
Right. While we over here murdering each other over egos and shit. You know?
That's their PS5 nigga abducting niggas and butt probing them.
Yeah, man, shit crazy.
Foreknowledge of the event, almost like the system was put in place to collect data on the appearance of the UFO or ARV, but the system knew it was going to be there. It had foreknowledge. It could track the erratically moving tic tac or the saucer. So I think there's a connection there with those episodic visits and the foreknowledge of craft sighting in the Immaculate Constellation documents. The timelines add up too. I think that's something that worthy to be explored. If you ask Luis Elizondo if he was read into Immaculate Constellation, of course it's a USAP, so he'll have to deny that. But I think there's some interesting questions there that could be explored.
It's so fascinating. I think the more you read books like Secret Machines or look at a lot of Tom DeLonge's old interviews and stuff, you're like, I'll often I'll catalog some of these things and I'll be like, well, I'm not so sure, and then I'll do my own open source research and I'll run into something and I'm like, damn, he was right about that too. Yeah. He talks about, I think, the Maynard Consortium and Secret Machines.
Yeah, based on the Jason Committee.
The Jason Committee, or it was I think it was this international corporate board that oversaw the UFO issue. And it's either the Jason Committee, I think of more in the context of tech protection via the U.S., our kind of most sensitive weaponry. But I almost associate that with, if you read Jacques Vallée's Forbidden Science, he talks about the Carlyle Group constantly coming up, and even Ben Rich, there's a quote in the early 90s, I think with his letters between him and John Andrews, I think, of Testers Motor Corp. And he is talking about this international governance board around the UFO issue and how it actually might need to be wrested out of the international governance board and taken into American hands. And so, you have a lot of things like that where you're it seems like Tom actually had a lot of great info.
Yeah, that's such a great point, because it seems like, whether it's a Five Eyes retrieval program or, tech protection stuff like the Jason Committee, which was founded out of MITRE, by the way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's why start looking at MITRE. Also, as a side note, when was MITRE and a lot of these FFRDCs started, like the Aerospace Corporation, 1959, 1960. That's exactly when Colonel Philip J. Corso of the Army's, not Air Force's, Foreign Technology Division says that technologies were being seeded into basically U.S. defense contractors to try to adapt to improve U.S. military might. Connection there? Probably.
Yeah. And you have, I interviewed Harold Malmgren, as you know, and he was at a federally funded research and development center. IDA. And, he said point blank before, somebody wrote this blog post kind of takedown of him. He said, my work at the IDA was actually a cover for what I was doing for the National Security Council and the president. And so it was clear even back then that you had this kind of old boys club of the kind of wild, wild west cowboy intelligence agencies, and FFRDCs were used as a front kind of often because his mentor at the IDA was Richard Bissell.
Yep.
Richard Bissell not only was deputy director of plans for the CIA later, founded Area 51, basically to test the U-2 spy plane, but then also, you mentioned this to me last night, I had forgotten, founded the NRO.
Yeah.
He was one of the co-founders.
He was one of the co-directors because just like we talked about with the NRO and CIA DS&T, the NRO is unique because it exists as a joint DoD-IC agency, and upon its creation in 1961, after a shoot-down of a U-2 spy plane over denied airspace in the Soviet Union, the NRO had co-directors, one from the DoD, one from the IC.
Yep.
And it's weird that the CIA seems to have a little tug of war over any lately founded U.S. intelligence agency. Same thing with the NURO, founded in 1969. Up until 1972, there was a huge tug of war between the Navy and CIA, specifically the DS&T, over who controls the NURO. And then, of course, Bobby Ray Inman takes over, and he's just agency out the wazoo. So, yeah, further interesting parallels between that. Richard Bissell is an interesting person. I'm particularly fond of, and I think you probably are too, of Richard Bissell allegedly briefing Malmgren on otherworldly technologies, as we know our buddy Randy Anderson, Off-World Technologies Division under the Naval Surface Warfare Center crane.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
there's
names
definitely
just keep
seems like something
coming,
might
bro.
line up there. What do you think of Malmgren's testimony? Because I did that interview, and I honestly would have expected that to have been picked up by mainstream media, because you have a guy who is a presidential advisor for JFK, LBJ, Nixon, and Ford. You could argue with his level of seniority with JFK specifically, but he admitted that he didn't deal a ton with JFK directly. He dealt more with Shriver or whatever. And then you can't really argue with his connections with the other presidents. I think he rose in seniority as time went on.
Yeah.
Clearly was connected at the highest levels of government. To me, and I've met a lot of I think pretty impressive people, just pattern match to somebody who had a map of the world in his head, was a total kind of Kissinger type, maybe without the bad vibes that Kissinger had, the desire to create destruction and manipulate. I think in some ways he was kind of like the opposite of Kissinger, and he was actually likely, I think, I think he was CIA.
Yeah.
And I think he was likely actually appointed to kind of restrain Kissinger in many ways. Like he was tagged with reining in Kissinger, who was seen as this kind of rogue guy. So what do you think of his testimony? Because there's some people I think that's kind of this coordinated job, but some people have come out and attacked him since that interview.
I think Malmgren was likely CIA, and his position at the IDA was a knock or non-official cover, which is a very common thing for agency stuff.
Yeah.
I think over time that Malmgren's testimony is going to age like fine wine. I mean, I was re-listening to your project with him just for one of my projects, and I was particularly intrigued when he is talking about intelligence communities and how intelligence communities have essentially found a way to fund themselves, and so they don't adhere to traditional oversight channels because they basically fund themselves. This comports exactly with what I think about institutions like the NRO or other intelligence agencies and UFO legacy programs. 1994, 1995, they can use carryover funds basically to do whatever the heck they want. I also think that I hope the 1962 Bluegill Triple Prime nuclear test starts to get revisited with what Malmgren said. Of course, that was were those tests over Bikini Atoll? Where were those?
Johnston Atoll.
Yes,
Just came to me. Yeah.
I know there's been some discussion on whether that was a targeting pod or something that was knocked out by the residual EMP of the nuclear blast when Malmgren stated that Bissell briefed him on that being a UFO. I think Jeff Cruikshank has done some incredible work and is still to this day making the argument that was a UFO recovered by the USS, I think it was Engage.
Yeah.
What's interesting about that testimony is those tests were conducted under the evolution agency of the AFSWP, the Armed Forces Special Weapons Project, which eventually became DITRA. I can't remember the agency specifically. AFSWP went through like 8 or 9 iterations before it became DITRA. Sorry, not 8 or 9. That's an exaggeration, like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Damn.
But that agency did the testing? Really?
Yeah, and Sandia supplied like the specific rocket payload for that testing and such. But what's interesting to me is when Dylan Borland talks about old Atomic Energy Commission records, talking about concluding that UFOs are extraterrestrial vehicles based upon the Atomic Energy Commission. I wonder if part of those records adhere to the AFSWP before it became DITRA, recording that crash.
Yeah, and the whole, so there's this guy, D. Dean Johnson, who tried to do this takedown of Malmgren, and the whole takedown was he couldn't have held the Q clearance, which you wouldn't be able to figure out through the FBI at all if the guy was CIA. You just wouldn't. And especially if you're a non-official cover CIA, there's just no way. And so I think a lot of those points are sort of rendered moot. And then you could say, well, he wasn't CIA, but it's like, you read the tea leaves on the interview. He's saying he handled the presidential daily brief. That's a CIA thing. He's saying he's best friends with Tom Farmer, who happened to be the general counsel of the CIA. He had Paul Mellon's walking stick in the interview, and I'm holding it for half the time in the interview or whatever because I wanted to see it. And he had it offhand, just in his apartment.
Does it represent anything? It looks very unique.
Damn, it's just a walker.
He has a lot of power.
It's got a lot of damn.
So Paul Mellon's one of the founders of the CIA. So I don't know. You got to read the kind of tea leaves on it. And I kind of I think figured that out through kind of basic research. You know, he's at Oxford, he's Yale. You know, it's like Richard Bissell's your mentor. He's deputy director. He's number 2 in the entire CIA.
Yeah.
We have Richard Bissell all over his diary.
Yeah, all over it.
So it's like so
Once they get on
clear
their
to me.
deathbeds.
What happened, champ?
So that's what happened, man. These dudes wait till they get on their deathbeds and then they want to start spilling the beans, man.
I know. It's just like they don't care no more, man. They've kept the secret. They feel like, what are they gonna do? Kill me?
Yeah. Fucking 90 years old, right? Fuck. Let me tell everything.
That's crazy. You hear that a lot, champ. You hear that so much. I feel like they get to the point where they just feel guilty about knowing all that knowledge without telling everybody else, you know?
Yeah, man. Can't even tell your kids, nobody.
Yeah. And then you have
nobody.
then you have to live like a normal human being and act like it don't exist, you know? That's the hardest part, I feel.
Yeah.
That he was CIA, and then I don't know. I felt like maybe it was hard for me to break this, you know, gentlemanly oath that he had. He was kind of breaking it on his own. You know, he clearly was breaking it in the UFO context, but I felt weird explicitly outing him.
Yeah, saying, hey, are you CIA?
Yeah, and it's the guy's like, you know, literally by the time we had put it out, he had passed away, sadly, and so like I just didn't feel like it was my place. But I did insert a little thing at the very beginning in the monologue saying if you watch this entire interview, you'll realize he's part of a
Piff said they're planet harvesting, champ.
Planet harvesting? No. I mean, they probably was here before us and created us, so.
Right.
You know, harvest them more than it's populating. They already own the planet.
a much deeper intelligence network than meets the eye.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe a lot of people didn't process that. Clearly, Dean Johnson didn't, but I don't know.
The Q clearance specifically is kind of a mute point to me. Of course, Q clearance is the DOE's equivalent of a top secret clearance. I mean, so there are some not public individuals that I'm familiar with, one of whom specifically has claimed to have operated on a crash retrieval team, UFO crash retrieval team out of the Nevada Test and Training Range. I've spent a lot of time kind of vetting this person and studying their claims, and I have to say I do trust them and believe them. And
at Area 51?
Area 51 adjacent
site.
Not S4.
Not S4?
Adjacent sites.
Okay. Can you say where? Or?
One such place would be the Tonopah Test Range, TTR, which is managed by Sandia, which is the Department of Energy's experimental weapons testing range.
And what does he say he does specifically in the context of crash retrievals?
We'll talk about that. 'Cause that's
Okay.
interesting. There's some interesting points there. But basically, this guy was sheep-dipped from another U.S. military branch. Sheep-dipped, we know that term from Jake Barber, going down the combat controller pipeline, taken into the program.
It means getting erased.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an agency term, right?
Yeah, going full ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this guy was sheep-dipped into the programs, and 4 programs went on blue sites or unacknowledged sites just to hang out for staging ops.
Sheep death, getting erased. So it's like to your family, like you get that news, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, your husband was in a bad accident, and like to you, you know what I mean? You never see your husband again, but he's out there on some secret op, bro. Mission. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Rapid reaction retrieval teams. He has a badge. The badge has NRO on it, and it just has a haphazardly slapped on Q clearance. So again, I have to state that I can't really provide evidence for this guy's testimony to you, and this should be taken with conjecture, of course, but this individual, I personally believe his testimony, and it seems like he never tested for a Q clearance. He never went through any sort of system to get a Q clearance. He was just given it.
He was just given the Q clearance.
Yeah.
And I think this is also important because we just went through kind of org chart stuff around how the UFO stuff works hierarchically. Yeah. But as far as the classification and clearances of this stuff, the Atomic Energy Commission and Special Nuclear Material, all of that stuff is really important.
Yeah.
And so,
So go watch David Grush on Joe Rogan. If you've watched it once, watch it again. If you've watched it twice, watch it half a dozen times and listen to the minutia of what he says. Specifically, legacy programs starting with the same secrecy mechanisms as the Manhattan Project and the 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement, birthing a lot of the secrecy behind UFO Legacy Program Classification and Controls. From that, we can take that the Department of Energy and its precursor agency, the Atomic Energy Commission, they hold a lot of the classification systems that govern UFO Legacy programs and secrecy and who gets read into the bigot list and the USAPs and how the programs are delegated and where they're housed and so forth. And specifically, there's numerous mechanisms that the Atomic Energy Commission and Department of Energy can utilize based upon the 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement. These include special nuclear materials, anything that gives off vaguely radioactive or radioactive signatures. Just
everything.
Put that as special nuclear material. Trans-classified foreign nuclear information, which that's famously outlined in the UAPDA for 3 years in a row, specifically named TFNI, trans-classified foreign nuclear information, and FII, foreign intelligence information. Now, what's interesting about foreign intelligence information is there's a caveat to it that I think really enforces my theory. One subset of foreign intelligence information, FII, is non-contract, which means not releasable to customers or contractors. I believe this is a security mechanism used for Department of Energy and their semi-autonomous subordinate agency, the National Nuclear Security Administration, to obfuscate UFO programs within DOE and NSA national labs, Sandia, Lawrence Livermore, Los Alamos, and then the Y-12 complex, which houses Oak Ridge. So that's a very interesting kind of rabbit hole to go to. Because, of course, it seems like with legacy programs, there's numerous layers of program security. There's the DARPA SID. If you're considered an insider or outsider threat to them, they'll just kill you.
Really?
There's the DOE OICI, who...
Are there examples of them, like, taking people out? Or?
No, but,
not public.
Yeah, but the DOE OICI...
well, where are you getting that, though, that DARPA SID can just, like, take people out?
Well, I just made a tweet about this pretty recently about the DARPA SID, and basically their program protection structure for special access programs within the United States for the most national security, like, restrictive special access programs, the most innovative, exotic technology programs for the United States. And it stands to reason that the CIA historically hasn't had a problem with taking out its own citizens if it needs to. If there's an insider outsider threat, such a program protection agency or directorate on the forefront of legacy programs would not hesitate twice to neutralize insider outsider threats. Just like whistleblowers we know today face reprisals, right? David Grush has faced reprisals. I know individuals who have had pensions threatened with inappropriate stuff on their computers, really disgusting graphic stuff that is just abhorrent to think about. And so it just stands to reason if somebody is a direct threat to a program protection structure that they might be taken out.
Yeah, sometimes wonder if there's some biological like if you want like a full clamp down control on like people who are part of a program, are there chips you're embedding? Are you giving them shots where you can kind of switch them off later in life? Are there things like that? I mean, it's
kill switches on humans.
To think about, but do you think some of that stuff is going on?
There's one common thread I found, and each of these three people had the same thing happen that they kind of answered independently. There's Michael Herrera, who observed while deployed on the USS Denver in Sumatra, Indonesia, experienced a team in all black of operators in a large, seemingly reverse-engineered man-made craft. There's Jonathan Weygandt and his infamous 1997 crash retrieval encounter. And then there's Roderick Castle, who during the Hunter Warrior Advanced Warfighting Experiment in 1997, while he was an AV-8B Harrier aviation technician, basically was ordered to check out some unauthorized flare activity. He saw a massive 200, 300-foot triangle and accompanying black team. He was held at gunpoint. All three of these men, directly after their encounters, were given what they were told were anthrax vaccine boosters. Back in the 90s, there was a huge controversy around anthrax scare and anthrax boosters. Roderick Castle specifically had already been given the anthrax vaccine and an anthrax booster. So weird that right after his experience of this team and this triangle, likely man-made triangle, he's given another booster. Same with Weygandt, same with Herrera.
Anthrax booster.
Yeah,
weird.
What prompted me on this is
you saw some sensitive technology. Now you need to be protected from
by
anthrax.
Yeah,
which was a flash in the pan threat to begin with. Like who's talking about anthrax?
Right. What was interesting to me is initially it was Roderick Castle that said this. He was like, yeah, afterwards I was given an anthrax booster, and then I was talking to Mike Herrera about his encounter, and he said, oh, I was just given an anthrax booster, unprompted. This was like months after.
And this is like a prophylactic where if you came across anthrax, presumably you'd have an immune defense for it or something. It's like a COVID booster, but for anthrax. Or like
and then I made that connection. I was in North Carolina sitting across from Jonathan Weygandt sharing a meal, and he's talking about his encounter. I love Jonathan Weygandt, by the way, one of the greatest guys I know. And he talks about Just completely unprompted, yeah. And afterwards we were given an anthrax booster. Speaking of Jonathan Weygandt, I cannot express to you how much I dislike the fellow Marine sergeants he was with during his encounter. They threw him under the bus and sold him out.
Well, let's get into the core details, because you just came out with a video maybe a couple months ago or a few months ago that was one of the best, I think, most important, just pure whistleblower testimonies about Jonathan Weygandt. And yeah, what a fascinating story. So yeah, tell us about it.
I think that can bridge us into how crash retrieval teams work as well.
Yeah.
Jonathan Weygandt, USMC Lance Corporal, 1997, sent to Peru, Operation Laser Strike, which is a counter-narcotics operation. Narco planes shoot him down, get drugs out of Colombia, Bolivia, Peru, entering U.S. airspace. He is told at one point that there's a downed friendly or foreign plane. No big deal. So he and a troop of 8 to 10 Marines, including Sergeant Adkins and Sergeant Allens, trek down to where this aircraft crashed. After a combination of driving and trekking, they encounter a clearing, which in basically a cliff face, there's an enormous egg-shaped, teardrop-shaped craft embedded in the cliff face. The craft is featuring extensive ballistic damage on the back. Weygandt guesses to this day this was due to a Peruvian Hawk MIM-23 missile system. There's seemingly a field around the craft. It's kind of silvery, metallic, but around the craft
Crazy
there's this
shit.
swirling field similar to what Dylan Borland
That's the egg
said
I'm talking about.
the lava-like mechanism that was used seemingly to cloak the craft. This was a purplish greenish, like oil on water, the mother of pearl effect. There was a light around the circumference of the craft that was kind of slowing down. And there seemed to be a hatch open with what appeared to be an arm hanging out with 4 fingers. This was part of...
Did it look like a human arm? Did it look like a reptile?
He doesn't know.
Great
It just looked like an arm hanging out.
with 4 fingers.
Yeah. And
1 second, I gotta take this call.
This was actually one of the things that Stephen Greer cut out of their year 2000 interview.
Why did he cut
I don't
anything
know.
out of this guy's testimony?
At first, I thought it was he was vindictive against James Fox, our mutual friend and excellent filmmaker with a great upcoming project, James Fox. He filmed the Weygandt interview for Stephen Greer. And so initially when I found the raw files, which even the raw files on Greer's DPI archive are still chopped up, you can find one part where James Fox asks a question and it quickly cuts. So initially I thought Greer just cut out James Fox's part, but it seems more dubious than that if part of Weygandt's testimony was excluded. But that's par for the course for Greer, right? We can think of Brad Sorensen in the 1988 Fluxliner incident at the Norton Air Force Base Air Show, where in 1990, Brad Sorensen admitted to Aviation Week and Space Technology senior editor Bill Scott. The entire incident was real. Everything happened. The Fluxliners, the copycat vehicles, and Greer and his cronies stonewalled this interview.
So crazy.
Yeah.
It's if you really want disclosure, and you're talking about a guy who shows up, at Edwards. Was it Edwards Air Force Base?
It was Norton
Air Force Base.
Closed down now, near Air Force Plant 42.
That's right. And then he's shown some back of the house show, and then he sees an alien reproduction, 3 alien reproduction vehicles hovering or whatever, and you see video of it. Like that's such an important testimony.
Yeah.
And then he's sort of like, goes dark, and he's like, really mean to all the
take that
UFO
phone
researchers.
call.
He's given
that
me
reach
so
out.
many death threats.
It's crazy. So then you have Stephen Greer is the one guy who's sitting on really crazy testimony from him, and where is that? Like, did you destroy it, or like
I don't. It was.
Where's the evidence?
So, I think this was found between 2017 and 2019 or 2020.
Okay.
One of Greer's cronies, a pretty respected and famous researcher, compiled a bunch of documents on this, and I think pried the interview from Bill Scott. And they him and the Greer team just put this all in a PDF, non-OCR.
The homie Piff said, and he bust down on the arm. He bust down on an arm hanging out the UFO. Yeah, bro. For real.
So non-searchable PDF, and just posted it on the DPI archive as Norton Air Force Base internal. So this was supposed to be an internal document that was posted to Greer's public archive. This is like a 200-page PDF, and I read through the whole thing as I was doing I was absorbing as much McCandlish, as much.
Is there audio associated
with
it?
Okay. No, it's a written thing from Bill Scott, but there's also handwritten notes between Bill Scott.
So they did
Brad
publish
Sorensen.
this?
No.
They didn't publish it?
No.
They just made it internal?
Yeah.
What?
I tried to reach out to Bill Scott, but he had a heart attack, so he's in poor health. So I haven't heard from him. I'd like to.
He's
speak
like
to him.
Aviation Week.
Yeah, and Space Technology senior editor. And of course, I've tried to kind of run a bit of a gambit with Brad, saying, "Hey, I've seen this interview. I know you've seen it. I just get more death threats, but but the
what happened, champ?
Big Jesse in the chat said he didn't know you was live. Let him know you got the link posted on the top for your email.
Oh yeah, champ. Yes, sir. Yep, you can come up if you want to, champ. I can bring my. If you look at the top, send me an email, and then we'll go ahead and get you up here to the top. I'll send you a link, champ. For real.
Circling back to Wagant, because I think that's so productive in how we can talk about crash retrieval teams. But it just seems like every now and then Greer weirdly obfuscates some data, including critical testimony. I mean, the biologics being present at Jonathan Wagant's retrieval encounter is critical. Because as he gets close to the craft, as it's dripping this clear, viscous, syrupy-like liquid, he feels like a being is communicating to him in his mind, telling him not to be scared, but also asking for help. Which I can't imagine the type of PTSD that would give a man. A sentient being like begging for help, but also trying to calm you down.
What did he do?
Well, he's getting closer and closer to the craft because he's the only one that gets near it. And then Sergeant Allen and Sergeant Adkins kind of jerk him back to reality, screaming at him and tell him to, get the heck out of there. Sergeant Allen and Sergeant Adkins, I won't say which one of them, but one of them, I emailed from my uapgurb@gmail.com email. It doesn't have my name or anything like that.
Hold on 1 second. Hold it down.
Comment, and they responded, "Hello, my full name." So they're trying to be trying to big bro me a little bit, be a little bit intimidating, saying like, "I know who you are."
They doxed you in their response.
Yeah,
Whoa.
correct. So that's not cool, and that's why I don't like them. And they've also thrown him under the bus. One of them specifically said, "Oh no, Jonathan Wagant's just crazy. It's just not true." But the most important part, in my opinion, is when Wagant and the other Marines leave the clearing. They're immediately intercepted by between 8 and 12 operators in all black, U.S. Army helmets. That's kind of an important detail. All black, no insignia, no name tags, held at gunpoint. Whilst these men are being detained, 2 U.S. Army CH-47 helicopters land. Out of the helicopters come a team in MOP gear, mission-oriented protective posture. Just think hazmat gear. If you think back to the 1965 Kecksburg, Pennsylvania crash, all the witnesses on scene said they saw people in what they called moon suits arrive. But these people are wearing DOE insignia, and some of them have DOE rain jackets.
Nah, hell yeah.
Wagant tries to resist. He gets
you can come up anytime, champ.
And he's taken and held in isolation for a period of up to 2 days after numerous threats of that he's going to be killed and all that stuff. But so that crash retrieval team, that is really important. The people in DOE, that is highly likely the Department of Energy Nuclear Emergency Support Team, DOE NEST. The DOE NEST is a DOE NNSA. NNSA, again, is the DOE semi-autonomous agency, the National Nuclear Security Administration Support Team. They're responsible for rapid reaction responses to any sort of CBRNE, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, high-yield explosive, specifically dealing with nuclear stuff around the world. This team has their own private jets, of course, which is also really weird detail. That guy I talked to you about that has claimed he's been on retrieval teams out of the NTTR has stated for some rapid reaction events, they would hop on a little private jet. So the DOE NEST has their own private jets. DOE NEST derives its authority from where else? The 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement. So DOE NEST operates under that authority, so they can kind of use the same classification systems to do, whatever the heck they want.
So how did they, because I think of OGA, Office of Global Access, as being this kind of rapid response team. Are they coordinating with DOE
OGA
NEST,
are logistics coordinators. So think about like the NGA as a combat support agency. Them and the NRO, they're providing intelligence, actionable information, and so forth. The CIA is just the coordinator. So in all likelihood, but this is before...
And the OGA is under CIA.
Yeah, and this is before the OGA existed, right? But in all likelihood, let's say Jonathan Wagant's encounter occurred in 2004, just for a mind exercise.
Sure.
The CIA OGA would have likely contracted the U.S. Army 160th SOAR Nighthawks, specifically 1st Battalion, which is the U.S. Army's basically helicopter regiment that supports JSOC operations, to utilize their CH-47s.
Y'all take a look at this light bleach right here.
OGA would have said, hey, we need this NEST team, whether they're NEST or whether they're just retrieval operators, using NEST, using the 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement as a shield. But we need those guys. And then they would also coagulate and get the Tier 1 adjacent, likely U.S. Army Delta, in this case, folks to get to the retrieval scene.
So then, what ends up happening to Wagant? So he's basically beat up. He's put in isolation, and then he's given an anthrax shot, as you mentioned later.
And then he's
anything else?
Sent back to Cherry Point. After a while, Sergeant Atkins, Sergeant Allens get mad at him if they try and talk to him. The Marines treat him like crap, so he uses marijuana to get kicked out of the Marines because it's so hellacious for him.
Poor guy, man. So messed up, and you see it in his face.
He's haunted.
He looks haunted. Yeah.
So before we started recording and so forth, he was like trembling.
Oh,
It still affects him deeply to this day to speak about.
I can only imagine.
And it took months to get him on camera. He does not want to be on camera. He lives a private life. He has a beautiful family. He works with rescue dogs a lot. Great guy, pure heart, and it's been terrible for him. So that DOE nest, though, I think there's a lot of interesting things there because we've talked about special nuclear material, FII, transclassified foreign nuclear information, and now nest. I think nest is likely used at abroad or CONUS and OCONUS, outside CONUS, continental United States retrieval operations. The DOE and /NNSA employ two other agencies I think are highly likely involved in UFO retrieval operations or passing recovered UFO materials between U.S. national labs here in the continental United States. This would be DOE SRT, Special Response Team, which is sort of a federal...
Hold on. What happened?
The mason jar. Is it a gallon jar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Unit, federal protective force that has arrest on-site authority within the U.S. These are the guys that safeguard nuclear material. These are the guys that safeguard Sandia and national labs.
Yeah, that was light bleach right here.
NNSA, OST, or Office
I'm going to put this to the side and make a video of it.
These are the guys that drive the big rigs that
was the only nugget I got light bleach on.
The materials. Now, the common thing between all three of these agencies...
Yeah, light bleach. That first one that I had showed you. Hold on, let me press pause on it. Nah. That's light bleach. Let me go show you. Let me show you again. It is foxtailing too, but if you look at the top how it's white, that's the light bleach.
Yeah, I was at frost. Okay. I thought that was frost. Yeah, you said it's light bleaching.
Yeah, got that blondie look at the top. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got that blondie look at the top.
I thought that was like frost, is what I was saying.
Oh, it translated as frost in the picture, like on the video and shit. Yeah.
All right.
Like it has.
You said it's a bleach. It's a bleach top.
Yeah, that's a bleach top, bro. You remember I only had about a couple inches from the top, and that's the only one that was and then when it was in the back and I could see it shiny, and I'm like, damn, that's some light bleach. But I let it go.
How bright of a light you got in there?
It's a 300 Octopus by Mugobi. Yeah, I got that light because I had, when I was shopping for lights, I was looking for people who were doing studies with lights, and then I ran across a channel called MJ Coco. And MJ Coco does a lot of studies on lights, and at that time when I was buying it, it was one of the fresh videos was the Mugobi Octopus 300. And it fit to what I was doing. I wanted to grow in something small. I like it. It's a good light. The only thing I have something bad to say about it is that it does get a little warm. The ballast, the driver, I have other ones that could stay cooler than that. There's new technology now. The light is good, but it's only very good when it's cool. When you can handle your temperatures, when you can dial in your temperatures, then it's amazing. But
can it be dimmed?
It could be dimmed, yeah. Oh yeah, it's got a dimmer on it.
I know you don't want to dim it where you probably was at in Flower, but yeah, just asking. Yeah, some weird Chinese little letter type shit in the chat, man. I don't know what the hell it is.
Oh yeah, for real, huh? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, let me put the back.
Comprised of DoD employees. These are comprised of contractors. All three of them are comprised of contractors. For example, Sandia has designed the big rigs that OST uses. But that's not the point. The contractors involved are Sandia, Lawrence Livermore, Los Alamos, Raytheon, and our former good friend, now part of Momentum, EG&G. EG&G, of course, is the...
Lindsay right in Chinese too now.
The company that allegedly hired Bob Lazar to work out at Area 51S4. EG&G was, of course,
what are they
spearheaded
saying,
by Donald
Salenzi?
Kerr, of course, the NRO, and EG&G, one of the senior special projects guys, is one of the people, or Alfred O'Donnell is one of the individuals who told
I don't have
George Knapp
translate on me.
that there was a recovered saucer held at an Area 51 adjacent site with live biologics in the 1950s.
And this is crazy because Alfred O'Donnell was also Annie Jacobson's
Correct.
source. And she goes on Lex Friedman and she goes, I was told on his
Correct.
deathbed, Alfred O'Donnell told me, that was a big source for her book, Area 51, where she was basically given exclusive early access.
Yeah.
Post Bob Lazar,
They were saying,
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
She's saying that her source, Alfred O'Donnell, tells her that, what did she say exactly about Roswell? That it was these like progeria
mangled twins from Joseph Mengele at the behest of Joseph Stalin.
Once it was determined that this was a hoax and that Stalin was able to get a craft over the United States and it crashed.
Oh.
And it had, people inside of it. They were people that were sort of deformed and meant surgically altered to look like aliens.
Damn, what?
The United States government decided that it needed to know what on earth that was all about and if it was possible for us to have the same program. This according to the source, right? Now that source is Al O'Donnell, who is the nuclear weapons engineer.
Wait, let's go back.
Let's
go back.
That this was a hoax and that
Stalin.
Once it was determined that this was a hoax and that Stalin was able to get a craft over the United States and it crashed. And it had, people inside of it. They were people that were sort of deformed and meant surgically altered to look like aliens. The United States government decided that it needed to know what on earth that was all about and if it was possible for us to have the same program. This according to the source, right? Now that source is Al O'Donnell, who is the nuclear weapons engineer who armed, wired, and fired 186 nuclear weapons.
And
That's harder to believe than aliens.
Yeah, right.
To be quite honest.
For real.
Listening to George Knapp talk about this, you can tell he's a little bit frustrated because he spent
because he has the same source as her, and Alfred O'Donnell told him that it's
and he also has the
UFO
turning
alien
point of
UFO.
that source. George Knapp stated that there was a meeting set up between one of the heads of EG&G, Edgerton, Germanhausen, and Greer, for one of them to meet with him.
Let me grab
Dick
some more
D'Amato,
tree real quick.
Dick D'Amato of the, I think he was SSCI, right? He was kind of in charge of probing SAPs and stuff, and Alfred O'Donnell to talk about recovered UFOs. And this was sometime in the 90s. And when they got to this meeting, the subject of UFOs was off the table. And this was the turning point for Al O'Donnell. He would never speak about it again. What's really interesting, though, is that Al O'Donnell apparently said to George Knapp that in the early 1950s, 1954,
Damn, I got a runny nose. It's hard to blow your nose with the mask on.
Was kind of transferred into Area 51 adjacent sites. Conventionally, you would think that is because Area 51 was supposedly built in 1954, established in 1954, even though there's strong arguments that underground sites near Area 51 existed far before that with the borax mines. I'm of a different mind. I think that craft was moved in 1954 because the 1954 Atomic Energy Agreement gave...
I used to go to school because a lot of Area 51 members, they live here in Nevada and stuff like that. I used to go to school with this kid that swore that his auntie worked at Area 51. And one thing he used to always tell us was that they used to have these underground bunkers like built in the side of the walls. Like that's what he used to always say. He's like, yeah, bro, they're all underground, but it's like you go through them in the walls like of the mountains and shit. He's like, that's what my auntie worked.
Expanded powers to government-owned contractor-operated laboratories like Sandia and so forth to house the craft. And thus, 1954 resembles a turning point when DOE, FFRDCs, and NNSA, which was established in the year 2000, started to kind of hang on to these materials themselves. Especially on the Nevada test site in NTTR, Nevada Test and Training Range. There's a series of photographs in the National Archives ranging from 1972 to, at that time, 1992, before Martin Marietta purchased Sandia back in 1993. but now it extends like 2012. But it was 20,000 plus EG&G, Nevada test site, and Sandia.
Sandia means watermelon, by the way, in Spanish. I don't know what references that to, but that's Sandia means watermelon.
Operations all across the Nevada test site. So many photos of underground stuff, weird computer control rooms. So that is my prevailing theory that 1954 saw a lot of these sorts of projects being moved into government-owned contractor-operated hands, which that's further supported by there is a former New Mexico State Rep, J. Andrew Kistner. This is like a proto-Grush. Nobody speaks about this, and it's insanely interesting. And I can speak about, so 2002 or 2004 second annual crash retrieval conference, Linda Moulton Howe says, hey, I'm going to present this testimony. I personally don't think of her as too credible of a source. So I went
But she's broken.
What? He said that Lynn Moulton is not a credible source, yo. That's crazy. She's like hella active too. She's hella active. She's like the one that be breaking. I don't know, maybe because she be breaking too much, so they're trying to break her reputation. I don't know whose side this guy's working on, or we don't know that yet. But he's trying to smear her reputation in some way. That's like a shot, bro. We got a shot.
Cannon, get set.
You
Took a shot.
took a shot.
She's broken a lot of stories.
Stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Hey, Jesse Michael's sticking up for like, wait, well, hold on, homie. She done broken a lot of stories.
Some sensationalism sometimes. So
Sure.
I contacted J. Andrew Kistner myself to confirm if he did this or not.
He's still alive.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. He doesn't really want to talk.
Interesting.
Just like most people who have been involved don't really want to talk.
And he was a congressman or senator?
Correct.
Or?
He was a rep for New Mexico.
Okay.
And so in 1994, 1995, he conducted a series of interviews with firsthand legacy people all across the Board Office of Naval Research, Air Force, etc. And basically, starting in 1947, there was some crashed craft. Vannevar Bush spearheaded retrieval efforts and so forth. And
He says all this.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Numerous scientific agencies were involved. The AFSWP, which would later become DITRA, was involved. And that in the early 1950s, there was a shift in how these craft were held, and craft were given over to government-owned, contractor-operated hands to be custodians. So that's one of the biggest interesting things in J. Andrew Kistner's testimony that puts a lot of faith in my opinion of him, as he talks about this, which comports strongly with my idea that national labs started to take over these materials and house them in the 1950s. Indeed, J. Andrew Kistner allegedly in 1995 told other New Mexico State Rep Stephen Schiff about this. Stephen Schiff launched a giant probe into Roswell, and there's a GAO audit and investigation into Roswell where apparently the Air Force had lost all of their files into Roswell. So that's a really interesting rabbit hole as well.
Stephen Schiff, I think, is on record saying, like, complaining about
that.
Yeah.
Yes. He says that the records were like rampant or like inappropriately destroyed, all that good stuff.
So crazy.
It seems like the mid-1990s has a lot of really weird events that might have had to cause UFO legacy programs to reorganize themselves to hide behind this Special Access Program Oversight Committee Senior Review Group.
Makes sense. Interesting. So that was when this reorg happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
1950s.
Okay.
And so, yeah, again, we talked about why the national labs would be perfect to house some of these stuff. I've talked about it before. It's another individual that needs to go further vetting because there's some stuff that checks out with his testimony and some stuff that begs more questions. But he has stated he has worked under the Y-12 complex, which houses Oak Ridge, on a UFO legacy program that studies the skin of two recovered non-human saucer craft.
Whoa. And this is a current guy that you're in touch with?
As of 18 months ago.
Wow.
18 months, 24 months, like within the last 1 to 2 years.
And he's saying that Oak Ridge houses this program that does, like, kind of material analysis on UFO materials.
Yeah. So things further need to be vetted with him. So again, this, if you're listening to this interview, this shouldn't be the takeaway. This should be considered an interesting addendum to the conversation already. Like, hey, maybe this is possibly true, but there's some interesting stuff there. 2 recovered discs. He states that Miter and Battelle are the 2 primary folks involved with this, and that the DOE, OICI, Office of Intelligence and Counterintelligence, are the people that kind of run the show.
Have you tried to stress test what he said or corroborate it through independent channels?
A lot of it checks out, and some of him is a little weird.
Okay.
So I think at the very least, he's being used as a limited hangout by people who actually work at the Y-12 complex on these stuff, specifically DOE, OIC guys. But I do think there's truth to the story that under the Y-12 complex there exists this legacy program. What's interesting, he says that this program studies the skin of craft. We've started to hear this a lot with recovered extraterrestrial or non-human craft. Skin of craft. Why skin of craft?
Right.
I think there's going to be a budding conversation in the next couple of years that what is common in UFO crash retrieval, specifically eggs, the egg-shaped craft, whether unmanned or manned, is that there's seemingly layers of skin on the craft, inner layers and outer layers separating like the bulkhead from the outer layer of the craft. My mind is drawn to the NTTR operator I spoke of. He spoke about a cracked egg once that he was on retrieval mission for, and there was layers, like a Russian nesting doll. There was layers of skin under the craft. I think back to the 1948 testimony of one Albert Bruce Collins, who claimed to be a metallurgist working on, who had some exposure to exotic stuff at the University of California, Berkeley. This guy, further investigation needs to be done, but he disclosed to Tim Cooper and Leonard Stringfield in 1990, shortly before his death, I think on New Year's Day, 1991 or something like that. But he gave a lot of interesting insights into stuff like Project Twinkle, which was, of course, a Sandia-based Z Division investigation into green fireballs over New Mexico, which Lincoln La Paz claimed probably weren't prosaic objects and so forth.
And I think there was some obstruction there as far as the Project Twinkle records, being shown, because Lincoln La Paz, who is a, kind of a University of New Mexico meteor expert, not with any UFO background or spooky intelligence background, came to the conclusion that these green fireballs would track, plumes of atomic detonations and were, happening at atomic sites across the U.S., and they would turn on and off, and they seemed to be intelligently moving around.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then the Air Force recommended that the findings of Project Twinkle not be disclosed because there was no natural explanation for this.
There you go.
And then, of course, we had the Robertson panel and all that stuff that happened thereafter. But Albert Bruce Collins stated that in 1948 at the University of California, Berkeley, he saw a lowboy-style trailer that was carrying a recovered vehicle. It was an egg-shaped craft that seemed to be cracked. There seemed to be layers of skin and like separated bulkheads, and almost inside like a visibly light compartment, sort of like an egg yolk. But that skin, those layers, is very intriguing. Everybody, including our good friend, one of the best people I know, Chris Ramsey, is obsessed with the 4chan whistleblower. I actually think there's a lot of validity to that, and I think that might be legit. But back in 2024, there was another sort of Reddit whistleblower testimony that really flew under the radar that I think is worthy of revisiting. I think the title of the post, now deleted, was just ex-OGA contractor. OGA is not Office of Global Access here. It's other government agency, implying this guy was probably like an agency contractor or stuff. This guy was in the 24th STS, which is a Tier 1 unit in JSOC from the Air Force. He talks about after his service in the STS, like 16 years or so, he is just doing contracting work for an OGA, probably the CIA or something, and he staged OCONUS outside the United States. And I'll send you the link for this because I really recommend people read it. It's a really juicy testimony that doesn't go overboard, which is interesting. And he sees his old troop chief. There's a couple C-130s that fly up to the base. It's all hush-hush. Nobody talks about it. He sees these people just get into U.S. Army CH-47s, likely 160th SOAR for rapid reaction teams. And then no talk about this, completely hush-hush. About 6 to 10 hours later, that team returns and he sees his old troop chief. This is very strange to this testimony, this poster, because the troop chief was just having beers in Virginia doing a fantasy football draft days prior. The troop chief looks super disturbed, super tired, a little out of it, but won't really say what happened. The poster of this kind of pokes around. What were these guys doing? The term crash retrieval came up, and he was kind of chewed out, reamed for it. A year later, he meets up with his troop chief, and the troop chief kind of opens up and says what had happened. He was on a parallel, not directly JSOC, but a parallel Tier 1 unit that was siloed under its own umbrella authority, not responsible for traditional SOCOM channels, that was responsible for crash retrieval of exotic vehicles. In the span of 4 years, he had only done 3 retrievals.
Wait. Did he say he didn't have to answer to nobody or nothing like that? What the hell?
Siloed under its own umbrella authority, not responsible for traditional SOCOM channels, that was responsible for crash retrieval of exotic vehicles. In the span of 4 years, he had only done 3 retrieval incidents, 2 of which were completely unknown to him. He had no idea what they were, but this new one really shook him to the core. The team was taken to a retrieval site, and there they found an egg embedded in mud.
Oh, shit.
The egg, there was no like brush fire. There was no, explosive residue. It seemed like a giant bowling ball had been dropped from space, and this egg had landed in. And this large silvery metallic egg, I think larger than the size of a couple SUVs, was cracked. And inside, what else is there but layers of craft, seeming like the nesting doll analogy is used. What's interesting is this guy said the air felt soupy. The air felt soupy. Recall when Dylan Borland said that triangle took off above him at Langley, he felt he felt like charged air, right?
Yeah.
So it feels like there's
felt like thunder. It felt like like
Static.
electricity, like run through his body or something. Yeah.
Just like Jonathan Wygant said, the air felt heavy as soon as he got in the proximity of the craft. And the guy didn't know what to do. They're just there to secure the LZ, but it's an anomalous vehicle that doesn't seem to be manned.
What happened?
Or like we like to say, SOB, souls on board. But it's just a really tame
Souls
testimony
on
that I encourage people to look at. It comports with what I know about manned and unmanned egg retrievals. It's very interesting.
So fascinating. Yeah. And you mentioned, there's so many places to take this, but you mentioned in 2003, the OGA, under the CIA gets created, the Office of Global Access. And I think there's a Daily Mail article that outlines,
Chris Sharp.
Yeah, Chris Sharp again. Okay, there you go. All over the world, they're kind of, keeping their finger on the pulse of UFO crashes. And, I think there's a rumor because you mentioned, if the Wygant crash were after 2003, JSOC would have been involved and the Army would have been involved. I believe there's a rumor of a dogfight between Lockheed crash retrieval team and a JSOC crash retrieval team in 2004 competing over trying to retrieve
the old Sentinels of Ether, huh? The Jake Barber classic. I mean I've heard that checks out. The details of it and why certain elements in Sentinels of Ether, which was like a roman à clef written by Jake Barber under a pseudonym, right, to try and trick Dopser in an intriguing play. I think there's details there that are more important. For example, I think the location of Coyame, Mexico is really important. I wouldn't be surprised if there's
Explain that. So just context for the audience, basic context. So Jake Barber, obviously, very important, UFO whistleblower, came out earlier this year through Ross Coulthart, me, a couple other people, and said that he retrieved an egg-shaped craft on this sort of, generic range, sort of, California test range. Did you see this egg?
I saw it. Absolutely.
What did it look like?
Probably 20 feet plus or minus. I don't know, 10% from my point of view. I was 150 feet from it. I had a 150-foot long line that night.
In a couple of different instances. Well, I guess one was an egg, one was an 8-gon craft. Said a lot of interesting things. Also, clearly was holding back, in a lot of ways. But one of the interesting things he said is to initially get some information out through Dopser, which is you need to clear everything you let out through the DoD to let it out. He said he sort of tricked them by writing a sci-fi book, and I think the first chapter is out, and it's Sentinels of Ether. And a lot of people, a lot of hardcore UFO researchers have speculated on this, first chapter of this book, because they think a lot of details might comport with the truth.
Well, the most interesting part to me is that I think there's a message there that these retrieval assets, the guys that Wygant encountered, the guys that Roderick Castle encountered, and the guys that Michael Herrera encountered, are not afraid to conduct blue-on-blue violence. These guys will kill American servicemen if need be for their mission directive.
Damn.
I think that's one of the greater themes there that maybe Jake Barber's trying to bring attention to, if this is not a real event, which it very well could be. Additionally, I think there's interesting data there to suggest that maybe there's an underground U.S. rapid reaction facility in Coyame, Mexico, in the north part of Mexico, and then maybe some of these facilities are built into mountains or built underground, and there's various foliage or various terrain or possibly projections that are used to obfuscate these sites.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you have to look no further than Cheyenne Mountain Complex. We have, and then you always bring up, the Solder, deep underground military bases. You have a great video on this subject. That's not a conspiracy. Under national labs and under sensitive sites all over the U.S., we have underground facilities.
Deep underground military bases absolutely exist. They have been a huge focus of the U.S. DoD and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers since 1948, when we took a bunch of Nazi scientists, including Xavier Dorsch, head of the TOT organization, to work under an Air Material Command underground laboratory and underground systems project. Deep underground military bases are extremely real. You have to look no further than the Lockheed Helendale or Northrop Tejon RCS facilities, which were built primarily underground to hide from Soviet ISR in our denied airspace.
Yeah.
These places are built underground. Additionally, if you're housing a UFO or just a conventional SAP or interesting technology or even like a recovered Russian MiG, you're not going to keep that in a hangar.
Yep.
You're not going to keep that above ground. You're going to keep that in an underground installations. And there's numerous studies by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers dating back to the 50s about supplying these with a nuclear reactor, where to get rid of some of the silt and dig out, and where to put the excess dirt. There's data on how to supply years of food and water. There's interesting parallels to the Nazis and like the Regan Wormlager in Poland, which was essentially an underground city with its own functioning train system.
Damn.
This is a very real thing. I think the biggest question is there a network of maglev trains or similar things connecting such installations? And I would say that there's a very strong argument that can be made. Early on, there were possible pneumatic systems that were thought to be implemented in Nazi Germany under the Todt organization that would connect Berlin to France and have a pneumatic train system that would connect the two in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
There's the 1972 RAND theoretical study, the Very High-Speed Transit System, which talks about connecting similar places. There's maglev systems. Even Lockheed Martin was super into maglev stuff in the year 2000s. And then, of course, you can start to rationalize this.
Maglev levitating magnets.
Yeah.
Sort of like
Super fast
high
trains.
speed bullet train
Yeah.
style tech.
Yeah. And then like tunnel boring machines, TBMs, how these things could be used by the Bureau of Reclamation as offshoot programs to start coring out these tunnels. I implore people, go look at those Sandia NTS, Sandia lab photos, and just look at how large some of these underground tunnels were cored out under the Nevada test site just for experiments, just for various technical experiments.
And so many of these whistleblower testimonies, like a guy you broke, who then we did a show with later, is Randy Anderson, talks about being at Naval Surface Warfare Crane. He's taken down in some elevator, goes deep below, the ground, and then he's taken through a bunch of skiffs until he gets to, what is it, Off-World Technologies Division. Sees a gauntlet emitting hieroglyphics and a levitating sphere.
Whoa.
It's fascinating. And a lot of stories include going deep underground. It seems
That sounds like the Men in
What frustrates
Black.
me about Randy specifically is a lot of people piled on him saying like, oh, and kind of memeing on him, trolling him, saying, why would there be a sign that says Off-World Technologies Division? I'd be remiss if I didn't show you this.
Yeah.
At the Dugway Proving Ground, Dugway Proving Ground is the area of experimental land is larger than the U.S. state of Rhode Island. It's like the NTTR, where it's one of the largest non-contiguous airspaces for special projects in the entire United States. It houses 2 major range and test facility bases: the Utah Test and Training Range, UTTR. The Dugway Proving Ground houses the southern range of the UTTR and the West Desert Test Center out of Army ATEC. By the way, if anybody's listening who's interested in Battelle, go look at who spearheads the West Desert Test Center, Mr. Ryan W. Harris, who has a background of working for projects for the DITRA and Battelle. So go start looking at that a little bit.
Interesting.
But at the West Desert,
Battelle co-manages Dugway Proving Grounds. Is that
they do
right?
a lot of work there on CBRNE stuff, specifically biological stuff. That's why there's so many stories about specifically biologics being held at Dugway Proving Ground. And speaking of, this is in the cafeteria at the West Desert Test Center, and I'll send you that so you can put it in the video.
We'll pop it up. Whoa.
They do this stuff right in your face.
Oh.
So crazy. And this looks so realistic, too. And you got the 3 fingers.
Yeah.
Really trippy.
So
I can't tell if there's a thumb there, if it's just 3-fingered.
Wow. As far as Dugway goes, there's one guy I've spoken to, and he's in my Dugway video, who's had a first-hand encounter at Dugway Proving Ground.
Really?
Yeah, goes by the
First-hand encounter with a being or with a
no, with a craft. Undergoing various testing mechanisms. So he was a contractor for the name's escaping me, but not like a Lockheed Martin, just like a standard contractor that does operations and maintenance at Dugway. And in the Avery section, which is right by the 308th Range Squadron, I want to say, right by their airstrip at the Dugway Proving Ground, he's doing electrical meter reading, and he goes inside a facility, and within that facility, which is out in the middle of nowhere on Avery, there's a craft in what's seemingly going in a state of disassembling. At the bottom area of this craft that looks like a symmetrical top across its x-axis, there's what seems to be like a panel or a part removed where there's like an inverted cone. Kind of reminds me of the reactor Bob Bob Lazar kind of talks about. But he's immediately held at gunpoint by INDUSEC personnel and taken to another area, Ditto, where he's kind of debriefed and threatened. And since that, he met with one of the chief scientists at Dugway. This is a guy who has a very real name. I know the name now, and I'm trying to track this guy down, but this is a real person who informed this individual MS of the massive stiff or subterranean facility.
What up,
Dugway,
ignorant boxing? What's going on, champ?
Entrance, which
Salute
I'll
to
send you a
you.
picture of, which is just west east of Granite Peak, which is all sorts of weird radar arrays by the 388th Range Squadron, and to the northwest of Dugway German Village. It's just a tiny little structure out in the middle of nowhere. And apparently, this is an elevator down. If anybody, because it's in vogue right now, if anybody's watching Stranger Things, in the newest season of Stranger Things, where 11 is taken down to the secret lab, the secret facility, it's just like a literal shed in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the desert. Similar thing. What's an interesting detail is that for above ground testing, a bunch of porta potties are sometimes moved to this region. Super weird detail, because another contractor I spoke to out at Dugway, who was active as recently as 2019 to 2022, I want to say, would talk about, it's so strange. Sometimes in the middle of nowhere in Dugway, there will just be a bunch of random porta potties.
Damn.
So it seems like there's this weird connection. Maybe there's above ground testing of derivative technologies or assets that, of course, facilities are brought out for people.
That they still got to go up above and take a dookie.
He maintained relationships with a bunch of quote unquote graybeards at Dugway. He guessed these guys are Battelle, but they don't they don't say, hello, my name is Jeffrey, I'm from Battelle Memorial Institute or Lockheed Martin. His graybeard babysitter, who would kind of have to walk him through, would always appear fatigued after sometimes he'd meet him. And this guy when he would appear fatigued, this friend of mine would say, hey, what happened? Why are you so tired? He would say, oh, we had the triangles out again last night. And so this guy was saying that they would stay out all night doing triangle testing.
Whoa, crazy.
Damn.
And you trust this guy?
The MS guy who saw the craft, absolutely.
Yeah.
The second guy who's a contractor, I don't really have a reason not to trust him yet. He has supplied me with his photo ID badge of his contractor time at Dugway. Shown me direct evidence that he worked out there. I have no reason not to trust that guy.
Wow. And Dugway, for just basic context for the audience, so it's in Utah, right?
Ooh.
And they call it Area 52, and it's sort of dubbed that.
They call it Area 52, but I don't like when people call it Area 52. Because Area 52 is the Tonopah Test Range.
Okay.
Tonopah Test Range is literally named Area 52.
Oh, interesting. And then Dugway, are there rumors that some assets were moved from Area 51 in the 90s there?
Yeah. Starting in the 1990s, because there was a large article. I can't remember. It might have been Pop Sci or Pop Mechanics. It was a huge expose on like Area 51 and how assets might have been moved over to Area 52, this mysterious new place in Dugway. What's interesting about that article is I have some pictures of it in one of my videos. The article has a bunch of pictures of I think either SR-71 or F-117A Nighthawk, but also has a sticky note on it that says call Bobby Ray Inman. It's a super weird meta thing.
Whoa.
But even like Edgar Fouché, whose primary testimony in 1998 revolves around the TR-3B, talks about, hey, a lot of projects were moved out to Dugway, proving out it makes sense, less high profile. But what's weird to me is that the Nevada Test and Training Range would have better infrastructure to house such programs.
Yeah.
As far as I understand, there's numerous sites across the NTTR that can house craft, underground facilities, even helicopters, possibly even hangar bays built into the side of mountains or floors.
Do you think that some of these defense bases are co-located deliberately with, and this is going to sound really trippy, but like natural portals or something? And the reason I ask this is because Area 51 itself was formed at the Nevada Test Site, or next to the Nevada Test Site. Nevada Test Site was the site of the most domestic atomic tests in the early 50s. If you read, Robert Hastings' UFOs and Nukes, where do UFOs show up most? It's around nuclear sites.
Yeah.
All of the first crashes are around either high-power radar or nuclear sites. Roswell, site of the largest nuclear stockpile in the U.S. There's an emergency meeting in 1949, I think, at Killeen, that Robert Hastings also writes about between basically, I think, Army counterintel, Air Force Office of Special Investigations, CIA. Like, they're freaking out around UFOs showing up all over nuclear sites. And then you have the Jake Barber testimony where it's like there's some sort of mental connection, with the UFO. And so if I were studying UFOs, I would look for places that are weird to begin with, like Skinwalker Ranch. And maybe Skinwalker Ranch is like the limited hangout version of this, you know, and I would put my defense stuff there and I would try to engage in the weird UFO shit where it's already kind of happening.
Well, correct me if I'm
Hell
wrong. Didn't
yeah.
Jake Barber talk about some of the like light orbs or weird, non-really physically identifiable craft he'd see over the range would like almost phase into mountains or like disappear in rock formations?
Yes, and you have Ross Coulthard doing his investigative research at Bradshaw Ranch in Sedona, Arizona. We have all this weird stuff. I think it's like supposedly associated with the university, but you have all these kind of armed guards there, you know, and it's and multiple people in the area see the crafts going into this mountain.
Yeah.
And Sentinels of Ether talks about that too, Jake Barber's book. So I'm wondering if there's this weird co-location of like paranormal stuff is already happening at this place. Let's study it and instantiate it, you know, and house it in some official defense capacity.
Yeah, I think there's probably 3 possibilities, and they're all
Right, that
super likely.
Skinwalker Ranch, that's
And
a
they
crazy,
probably
bro.
all are a thing. You house these sites by already weird locations with activity. You know, maybe if that 4chan whistleblower is to be believed, and there's places within the Bahamas that large hamburger-shaped mothership that 3D prints UFOs to spec houses. Gosh, I don't know, maybe...
They say the Bahamas.
I think, yeah, like Bermuda, I think is an area it frequents. Well, gosh, it would make sense to have
Well, you have magnetic anomalies there. AUTEC is in the Bahamas.
That's what I was gonna say.
Weapons testing
It would
facility.
make sense to have that there.
Yeah.
Right.
And then that's one thing that's probably true. 2, that's probably true. Put these installations in the middle of nowhere so you can bring the triangles out where people aren't around for hundreds of miles. And 3, hide stuff in plain sight.
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are access to stiffs, SAP-Fs that are literally in corporate parks or shopping centers.
Oh.
Interesting. Do you have anything specific there or that you're thinking about?
Not specifics that I want to talk about, but I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, in the future, if more locations are spoken about, that some of these places are in plain sight.
Do you think there's anything near LAX?
Maybe. Well, yeah, because it's near it's very close to the Antelope Valley, and in Los Angeles there's numerous FFRDCs, numerous locations and DoD defense laboratories. I would not be surprised if there's a large infrastructure underground there.
How many UFOs do you think are sitting in hangars across the United States?
I don't know. If you look to what Parber spoke about before he went public, he would say over his specific range 1 to 2 a year. That number seems high for me. It seems quite high. Maybe he also meant that they were downing derivative vehicles to test their hardness to the dog whistle and the weird.
Or 1 to 2 a year might include just random material.
That
isn't
debris.
like a whole craft.
Or
debris,
intake from other locations that they can have the infrastructure to house the craft in there.
And Hal Puthoff, I think, stated a number on Joe Rogan. I think he
Didn't
literally
he say like 12 to 15.
I think something like that.
I think that's low.
That seems a little
Maybe
low to me too.
40 to 50.
Okay.
Maybe 50 to 100, because I do think there's validity to the U.S. has constructed offensive weaponry against UFOs. You know, if we look at the Aztec crash, a case you, Chris Ramsey, and me also think extremely highly of.
Yes.
One of the prevailing theories is that the Lash-Up radar network, which was constructed over New Mexico to protect against Soviet bomber attacks, which, by the way, J. Andrew Kistner spoke about high-powered radar.
Yeah, because back then we were just shooting bullets at them, like that scene where it's just we're shooting bullets at them and then nothing's penetrate them. Nah, we got shit that can take them down now.
Our facilities messing with the UFOs in his 1994 disclosures. But one of the prevailing Aztec theories is that these super high-powered, really weird radar networks, there might have been high-intensive microwave systems that messed with the craft and brought it down. And then in fast forward to 1983, I think there's an argument that can be made that in the Strategic Defense Initiative or Star Wars program under Ronald Reagan, that the lethality and target hardening program or the particle beam weapons program were meant to be space-based systems that utilized microwave weaponry to shoot down UFOs.
Well, this was the weirdest part of the Malmgren story that I hold him in super high esteem, and I think there's a lot of weirdness around. I feel like there was a coordinated information operation to kind of take him out, to be honest. They changed his Wikipedia page.
Yeah, that was ugly.
The blog post was like, we asked XYZ person and they hadn't heard of him over and over again, which is like, you're talking about like this knock who like was clearly like, I don't doubt his connections for a second.
Right.
The guy was connected at extremely elite levels. He knew a lot of very interesting people, and I think he was in a lot of the rooms that he said he was in.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of BS. So, but the weirdest part of Malmgren's testimony, which didn't even occur directly with me, he was apparently, again, final few days on his deathbed, speaking to Pippa, his daughter, and he told her that he had seen an interview with the surviving or one of the surviving alien beings from Roswell, which is fascinating. Like a recorded interview with this being, and that the being suggested that we use like high power radar to take out crafts.
Yeah.
And then you get into these weird, like, are we in some sort of like, are we being used in some sort of like as a proxy in like a larger cosmic war between these extraterrestrial beings? And he was involved, I believe, in the Strategic Defense Initiative.
Yeah.
And if you look at Bluegill Triple Prime, it was kind of a proto SDI Strategic Defense Initiative thing that he was doing. It was missile defense. Missile defense was this big issue at the time because you couldn't really kinetically, like, we didn't have like interceptors that could like knock into like Russia, Soviet missiles.
Right.
And so, in that case, it was like this X-ray burst that would like take out the surrounding missiles. Really interesting.
Yeah.
And there's this like Rand Corporation paper, I think, kind of scoping it out before they actually executed on it in '63.
And SAIC was up to the gills working on those programs as well for SDI.
Yeah. They were one of the largest contractors, right, for SDI.
What's interesting to me is that there are some theories out there that the actual idea for SDI originated with Eisenhower, not Reagan. And then, of course, what was established under Eisenhower? Well, the NRO. There's a theory that could be constructed that as soon as we got the NRO up there with their taking over the Corona satellite program and all sorts of keyhole satellites, they immediately started getting a bunch of imagery and signals intelligence of a bunch of UFOs.
Yeah. Well, now you have Beatrice Villarreal coming out with this
yeah.
peer-reviewed paper. This is wild to me because it's like academia has nothing to say. And kudos to, Brian Keating, who's actually usually kind of more on the anti-UFO side, but he's like, this has to be contended with. You have Sabina Hassenfeld. There are a few people with real credentials and, larger platforms saying Beatrice Villarreal, who's Stockholm University, astronomer with actually a physics background as well. The Palomar plates. Palomar is this observatory in California. And it was the most prominent observatory in use in the 50s between 49 and 57 pre-Sputnik going up into space.
Yeah.
You have over 100,000 transients, light-reflecting objects. It's insane, and nobody has a good debunk to this day, and it's peer-reviewed.
And isn't there data that Donald Menzel and the Menzel plates, he was one of the ones kind of stripping some of these plates out?
Not only is there like that a rumor, that is from a book by Dorrit Hoffleit, who became a respected astronomer in her own right. Was at Harvard with Donald Menzel and writes about this. And by the way, Donald Menzel not only held extremely high clearances in just about every agency you could name. He was rumored to be Majestic 12. I believe Kennedy, while he was at Harvard, had an interest in like astrophysics, and so he had some relationship with Don Menzel. But Don Menzel was also head of and I always botch this, but the earliest version of NIST. So it's like the Bureau of like Standards in the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's like the organization that like creates like the encryption standards and decides that we're not going on the metric system or whatever.
What the hell?
Kind of the most reality management style job you could think of. And he's the guy caught destroying plates by somebody who's very reputable, Dorrit Hoffleit. So yeah, it's weird.
Damn.
And there were only like there weren't that many observatories at the time that were even functioning. And so I think if you get one other observatory to do like if it's pretty correlated, they have transients also from 1949 to 1957 that line up with what Beatrice finds. To me, that's like game over for disclosure. So literally, like you're talking about like light reflecting objects that aren't comets, meteoroids, meteors, asteroids. It's not satellites. Like she's clearly debunked all of that enough to like the average astronomer for them to like peer review it, and like that seems like a an easy first order debunk that she's getting around. So this is crazy news.
And already the armchair debunk is to say it was Project Mogul balloons.
Did somebody say that? That's absurd. Yeah, they're just going back to the Roswell playbook. Oh my god.
That Beatrice is doing the Lord's work right now.
It's amazing.
Let me ask you this, because you were talking about the number
For
of
real,
crafts you
for
can
real.
craft.
Piff,
Right.
you don't know what
Craft
they
that have
shooting back.
craft.
Yeah.
If you had to rank, let's just say your top 5 UFO crash
We don't
retrieval
know
events
what they
and
shooting back.
favorite, most credible, just
Yep.
Yeah, most credible. What would you say those are? Your top 5?
I would say put Aztec up there for sure.
Yeah.
You have 5 witnesses. You have the Lash Up radar system. You have
Okay.
clear obstruction with Silas Newton and Leo Gebauer and stuff. So I'd put that up there. I would now put Magenta up there, and I don't know, depending on when this comes out, I'll either tease here now or this will have come out already. But Marconi, who invented the radio.
Yeah.
This is like getting like Oppenheimer's offspring saying that he worked on UFOs. Marconi's grandson, I was able to track him down and get an interview. He's a prince, Prince Marconi. And he was like, my grandfather was on cabinet RS-33, this cabinet with Mussolini, and they were working on the extraterrestrial issue.
In 1933, the Italian government set up this group, a secret research 33 cabinet, where Marconi was the was the president, and Enrico Fermi was the vice president, and they made some searches and studies on this phenomenon. Because 1953, they say that in Varese, north of Italy, there were some apparitions of so-called UFOs. So,
in Magenta, Italy, or do you know where specifically?
Yes, Varese, it's north east Italy. Northeast, yes. Varese, it's north of Milan, in Lombardy. And
Lombardy.
between Lombardy and Venetian land.
He couldn't go much deeper than that, but that's fascinating. You would now have archival and stuff that corroborates RS-33 existing.
Right.
And so I think and then you have David Grush, who to me I hold in highest esteem when it comes to UFO whistleblower. So I would put Magenta up there now. I really like the 90s Brookhaven crash.
Yeah,
I think that's
Long
really
Island,
fascinating.
New York. Yeah, it's a great case.
There's a really interesting testimony from a sheriff around that I think is very strong. And then to me it pattern matches because they have Cosmotron, the particle accelerator. I think particle accelerators and nuclear seem to attract UFOs. So
Hell
I think
yeah.
that's up there for me. I would say Kecksburg with the Eric Walker.
Yes, sir. What up, y'all? What's going on with y'all, man? Let me go ahead and take this off real quick. Got the homie knocked out right there. Let's go, baby. So look, we're in the stream right now for just a little bit, right? Got all the nice flowers right here. Got them right here. These are the bleach ones right here. We got some bleach flowers. Got a little jar right here. And we got a big boy jar right here. These are the ones that we got in, then we got the bee ones right here. All right. We still got a lot in the tent too that we got to harvest, right? So my point is that I could be right back. I'm gonna go grab something to eat, and I'm gonna be right back. We're gonna finish this Jesse Michaels. Got to get some more blunts because I ain't got no more blunt wraps. These are gonna stay right here. I'm gonna go get some more blunt wraps. I'm gonna go eat. Y'all tap in with your boy. I'm gonna return. Give me about an hour. Let's see. It's 3:30 right now. West Coast time. Probably about 7 o'clock over there in New York. So give me an hour. I'll be right back, man. So I'll tap in with y'all in just a little bit. This is your man, 702. And we'll catch you on the next one, man.
Appreciate you pulling up, bro. I know you want to keep it low key, so we won't use your name or nothing. You good with the setup?
Yeah, it's perfect. I'm cool like this.
Bet. For people watching, where'd you grow up?
Vegas, apartments off Cary.
How was that for you as a kid?
A lot of noise, a lot of traffic, gangs around.